Good morning and welcome to those of you on venue and those of you listening in at home on worldrowing.com. I'm Gillian O'Mara here in the Finnish Tower with Michi Schmidt, and we're joined by a fantastic commentary team also out there on the water to bring you all the action today. At the 1,000 meter mark, Camilla Hanlon, and at the 1,500 meter mark, Tim van Vliet.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zur Lucerne Regatta 2021 hier auf dem Rotsee in Luzern. Es ist der zweite Weltcup der Saison und es geht schon bald los. In etwas mehr als 5 Minuten startet das erste Rennen, nämlich der Frauen-Zweierone. Und am Start sind dort 4 Boote. Can you tell us more about the next race?
Yeah, the women's pair, it's a bit interesting. We had a few withdrawals out of this category, so we'll have to see how these athletes do, but we definitely have some top crews out there, like the Spanish, for example, competing in this first heat of the women's pair. And I think what's fantastic, Michi, about Lucerne is you're looking out on the water now. All the crews have left 30 minutes ago, and so the water just starts to completely calm down. You really get this incredibly flat surface right before the first race here. So I know, Mika, you've been here out there on the water. How do you feel when you're up there at the start line on the Rotsee?
Well, I think at the moment it's definitely perfect to be on the Rotsee and to have a race today. The water is perfectly flat and it's not raining yet, so
it might later, but we're not there yet.
Hopefully not, but I think, yeah, a really good day to race, and I'm sure all the athletes are looking forward to their race.
Yeah, and we have a really packed program today. We go from 9 o'clock all the way until 12 with the heats racing, and then we come back this afternoon with a few repêchages. I think a quarterfinal in the men's single sculls, lots of entries in the men's single sculls. Any particular race that you're looking forward to out of the heats, Michi?
Yeah, definitely the men's double, especially the third heat with both the Swiss crews, and they are up against the Czech boat and the boat from the Netherlands and Romania, and that will be really interesting as the Netherlands are the European champions from 2020, and the Czech boat just qualified for the Olympics last weekend at the final Olympic qualification regatta. What are you looking forward to, Gillian?
Yeah, I think fantastic racing across the board, but I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing also the women's double sculls, also the women's quadruple sculls. I know it's a preliminary race for lanes today in the women's quadruple sculls, but such fantastic quality out there on the water with the Chinese 2019 world champions, and then the Polish, the Dutch, and the Germans all out there on the water. So really looking forward to seeing that even preliminary race for lanes today.
Yeah, that's a good one, especially the Swiss crew is now also in that race. They were supposed to race at the final Olympic qualification regatta. They had to withdraw because of a positive coronavirus test. And now they are again on the water with the spare woman. And I'm sure they will have a good time on the water here in front of, yeah, I cannot say the home crowd, but
on the home course.
On the home course.
So we're going to head up to the start for the first heat in the women's pairs. We have 4 crews contesting this first heat. In lane 1, Ireland 1. In lane 2, the Czech Republic. In lane 3, Spain. And in lane 4, Ireland 2.
Wir gehen nun zum Start nach oben und wir haben im Frauen-Zweierone im ersten Vorlauf des Tages folgende Boote am Start. Auf Bahn 1 Irland 1, auf Bahn 2 die Tschechische Republik, auf Bahn 3 Spanien und auf Bahn 4 Irland 2.
So we're just 15 seconds to go until this first race will get underway. Just one crew through to the A final out of this first heat in the women's pairs, 2 heats, and the rest of the crews will have to go through the repêchage later on today. But the Spanish there in lane 3, they were 3rd at the European Championships, 5th at the World Championships back in 2019. That means they have qualified for the Tokyo Olympic Games, and Ireland is also qualified for the Tokyo Olympic Games. So it'll be really interesting to see how these 2 crews shape up, which crew will make it first out of this first final. But they're off there. A very quick start across the board, rating up at 47, 48 strokes a second across there from the second Irish crew. So a very quick start from all crews out there on the water.
Das Rennen ist nun eben gerade gestartet und es ist das Boot aus Irland 2, welches das Rennen momentan anführt, ganz knapp vor Irland 1 und dem tschechischen und dem spanischen Boot. Aber es ist noch alles sehr nahe beisammen und die Boote nähern sich der 400-Meter-Marke.
Yeah, really great start from the second Irish crew, getting out there really fast. Just behind them, the first crew from Ireland. Obviously, maybe a bit of inter-team testing going on here as they're in this first heat of the women's pair. And then, obviously, we would expect to see the crew from Spain getting out to a quicker lead there. But they're third, they're world European bronze medalists from Varese just a few weeks ago, and I think they're probably just biding their time a little bit as they approach the 400-meter mark, but Ireland 2 still in the lead.
Meine Kollegin hat es eben gesagt, es ist immer noch das Boot von Irland, welches das Rennen anführt. Die Boote haben jetzt gerade die 500-Meter-Marke passiert und es ist das Boot von Irland, welches als erster über diese Marke gefahren ist. Diese Ruderinnen fahren mit einer Schlagzahl von 37 Schlägen pro Minute der 600-Meter-Marke entgegen. Vielleicht noch zum Sagen, das zweite Boot war Irland 2, welches am zweitschnellsten die ersten 500 Meter gerudert hat vor Spanien und der Tschechischen Republik. Aber die Boote sind innerhalb von 2 Sekunden über diese Marke gefahren und nähern sich nun der 1000-Meter-Marke.
Yeah, so they're through the 500-meter mark. Ireland 1 coming across the 500-meter mark in the lead, just ahead of Ireland 2, followed by Spain and the Czech Republic. But I think we might see these positions start to shift as they come into the middle section of this race. They settle into their race pace, and we do see now the Spanish are the fastest moving boat on the water, so trying to make their move in the middle 1,000 meters of this race. So out there on the water to actually take you through this and tell you how things are going out there on the water at 1,000 meters, we have Camilla Hadland. Camilla, how is it looking out there from your perspective?
Thank you so much, and yeah, absolutely glorious out here on the Rothsay this morning. You can see why they call it the Lake of the Gods. Just a few specks of rain starting to fall here at the 1000-meter marker, and some beautiful church bells in the background. So very atmospheric set up for the first day of racing here at World Cup 2 in Lucerne. And you called it right, Gillian. It is the Spanish that are starting to move through the field now. They're closing down the gap that the Irish pairing of De Casca and Crowley had established out in that first 500 metres, but a gutsy performance still going on here for Ireland 2. This is the second half of that under-23 silver medal winning 4 from Sarasota. The 2 of the crew have gone into the 4 that we've seen performing so well, and this is the second half of that crew currently sitting in 3rd place alongside the Czech Republic. As we come through the 1000-metre marker, Spain are just centimetres behind, and in fact moving through Ireland. It's then going to be level pegging for Ireland 2 and the Czech Republic, about a length back on that leading pairing that we've got of Spain and Ireland 1. But great to see Ireland 1 back racing. They have qualified this boat for the Olympic Games, as you mentioned, and it is the 50% of the field that have qualified for Tokyo, as we'd expect, that are leading this initial heat of the women's pairs. As they come past the boating area here at Lucerne, they're facing a slight breeze of headwind as they move into the 1250-metre marker, and Spain still the fastest moving crew on the water here at the Rothsay. They're striking 35 strokes a minute as they move through Ireland. They've now got a quarter of a length lead over Ireland in second. It's still level, and Ireland too desperately trying to cling on. Hanlon and Fierick over Flamakova and Sanchikova of the Czech Republic. This pairing from the Czech Republic, 5th at the final Olympic qualification regatta just last weekend, so great to see them back out here, and I bet there's some tired legs approaching this 500 metres to go marker, Tim.
Thanks, Camilla. Looking across the lake here at the 1500-meter mark, we can see the Spanish crew moving to the front of the race, looking very composed. Nice style of rowing they have, but on the far side for me, In lane number 1, that first crew from Ireland still looking very powerful, giving it a nice crank at the end of the stroke, and they're motoring along at 36 strokes a minute. And the Spanish have moved away a little bit in the third 500, almost 10 meters ahead of the first Irish crew as we approach the three-quarter stage. It looks very nicely and composed from the crew from Spain, and now almost breaking clear just in front of the 1500 meter mark, looking impressive. So that's the order for you at the 1500. Spain coming in first, then it's the first Irish crew, then the Czech Republic in third, and the under 23 crew, the Irish crew 2, in the last position. But it looks great from here, but they're almost out of view, but they come into view of you, Gillian, in the finish tower.
Thanks, Tim. Really interesting to see this Spanish progression throughout the race. They started in that third spot at 500 meter mark, and they just powered their way through the middle section of the race with the highest boat speed, storming their way out to the front. But we want to keep an eye on the Irish because we know, if anything, the Irish can sprint. So they're approaching the red buoys now, and I think just one crew through to the A final. The Spanish are looking set for that spot, but we'll see if Ireland can pull anything out of the bag in the final 250 meters.
Die Boote haben nun eben gerade die letzten 250 Meter erreicht und es ist das Boot aus Spanien, welches das Rennen anführt, eine knappe Länge vor dem Boot aus Irland, welches nun gerade angefangen hat zu sprinten und das Boot aus Spanien etwas unter Druck setzt. Es geht nur ein Boot direkt ins A-Finale. Das heißt, die beiden Boote möchten sich natürlich hier keinen Platz schenken und nähern sich den 200-Meter-Marke vor dem Ziel.
Yeah, Ireland has done it. They've gone up to rate 39. They're absolutely desperate to get back on Spanish, but I think it's going to be too little too late as they're coming into the final 100 meters here. Spain looks like they can control the race out in front. They've gone up to 37. Ireland's up at 42 strokes a minute. They're absolutely desperate, trying to close that gap here, and they've got just 8 meters behind the Spanish. But as they come up to the line, I think the Spanish have done what they needed to do through the middle portion of this race, and they're in their final 2 strokes. I think Spain's just going to claim it over the Irish to take that one spot through to the A final, and then coming through in those third and fourth positions. It's going to be a tight one, I think, between the Czech Republic and Ireland 2, but coming up to the line, Czech Republic claim that third spot, Ireland 2 in fourth.
Es war das Boot aus Spanien, welches ganz knapp vor dem ersten Boot von Irland die Ziellinie überquert hat. Dahinter sind die beiden Boote aus Irland und Tschechien als dritter respektive vierte über die Ziellinie gefahren.
And on the course now, heat 2 of the women's pair. In lane 1, China. In lane 2, Chile. In lane 3, Romania.
Jetzt auf dem Kurs ist der zweite Vorlauf des Frauen-Zweierones mit China auf Bahn 1, Chile auf Bahn 2 und Rumänien auf Bahn 3.
They're coming up towards you, Camilla, at the 1,000 meter mark, and maybe it's no surprise to see that Romanian crew out in the lead.
Here, the European silver medalists from Varese just a few weeks ago. They've got half a length as they come through the 1,000 metres ahead of the Chilean twins, Antonia and Melita Abraham. These guys just missed out on qualifying for Tokyo at last weekend's final Olympic qualification regatta, finishing in third position. But these two crews well clear of the Chinese combination of Liu and Huang. As they move through this third quarter of the race, it is going to be quite a tight battle just to see if the Romanians can shake off the challenge that the young Chileans are throwing at them. Just 23 years old, this combination from Chile. But I think the experience of the Romanian combination of Buhus and Alenkai in lane number 3 is just going to put them with that edge on experience. They were the gold medalists from the Europeans back in Poznan, and certainly their coach Antonio Colomanici is going to be pleased to see them with the fastest boat speed on the course ahead of Chile. And as we move through into the real guts of this race, I think their style and their precision is just going to keep drawing out that boat length ahead of the Abraham twins. Adriana Alenkai in the bow seat for Romania, the junior world champion from this boat class in the pair back in 2017. She'll be making the calls to Juliana Buhus in the stroke seat, just ensuring that they can control the field without expending too much energy to secure that one remaining spot through to the A final. Tim, is it still looking good for the Romanians?
Yeah, Camilla, definitely it's looking very good for the Romanian crew. They are moving along steadily at 34 strokes a minute, approaching the three-quarter stage, but looking very relaxed, very smooth at the front end of the stroke, and just trucking along. Very nice, clean catches from both of these athletes from Romania, and they are moving away still almost 2 boat lengths of clear water between them and the crew from Chile, the young twins. They're now crossing the three-quarter mark in second position, and looking back, it is the young combination from China now crossing the 1500 meter mark in third. But out in front, Romania looks very composed, don't they, Gillian?
Yeah, Romania's looking fantastic. I think it's not a surprise to see them so far out in the lead. I have to admit, my heart broke a little bit for this crew from Chile when they didn't qualify last weekend at the final Olympic qualification regatta. They just missed qualification back in 2019 in a very tight race, and they just missed it again here this last weekend in Lucerne. But they're out here on the course today, getting an excellent extra race in and just making those steps, hopefully towards 2024. We'll have to see. But Romania out in the lead as they come towards the red buoys.
Die Boote nähern sich der 250-Meter-Marke vor dem Ziel und es ist nicht überraschend, das Boot aus Rumänien, welches das Rennen anführt. Die Europameisterinnen von 2020 machen einen exzellenten Job, rudern hier mit einem langen Schlag schön kraftvoll dem Ziel entgegen. Auf dem zweiten Rang ist es das Boot aus Chile, welches sich einen komfortablen Vorsprung auf die Ruderinnen aus China herausgearbeitet hat.
If my German's any good, I think that means the Romanians are masters of their craft as they're coming into the final sprint here. Really excellent stuff from Romania. Not a surprise to see that Romanian women's sweeping program out there in the lead. They're looking very calm, controlled, and comfortable as they come up to the line to take that one spot through to the A final. Chile's going to come across in that second position, and then this new combination from China coming out of their women's 8 is looking to set to come across the line in third.
Es war das Boot aus Rumänien, welches als erste Ziellinie überquert hat. Gerade jetzt fährt das Boot aus Chile als zweites über die Ziellinie und das Boot aus China ist jetzt im Ziel.
Storming down the course already is the first of 3 heats in the men's pair. They're past you, Camilla. So in lane 1, Belarus. In lane 2, Italy. In lane 3, South Africa. In lane 4, Germany. In lane 5, Great Britain. And in lane 6, France. How's it looking out there on the course, Camilla?
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this one, actually. And it was the French combination of Thibaut and Guillaume Toulin that came through in the lead, but only just some really high-rating, fast-punching Italians over in lane 2. Vicino and Lodo, this combination, the world champions back in 2017. Just half a length behind the French crew that is trying to prove a point. They're here to be selected for the Olympic Games over the Onfoy brothers that we'll see just in a later on heat. So as they came through, it was France 1 ahead of Italy. It was then Great Britain, and with the cries from the boat park of "Come on, GB," they were moving through the field up into third position from the 4th that they held through 500 metres gone. It was then, well, best of the rest. It was quite tight between South Africa, Germany, Belarus, all sat in the pack behind, but with only one to go through to the A final, I think it's all tightening up at the front of the field, Tim.
Yeah, definitely. The French Tourlan brothers here in lane number 6 moving very nicely, but they are perilously close to the buoy line and have to make a small course adjustment at the just in front of me, but they look very good. And with only one crew straight to the A final, I think it's going to pay dividends if they can keep this, keep their first position. The fast, furious racing Italians on the far side still in third position, but the crew from Great Britain with Matthew Tarrant in the stroke seat moving to the second position, moving to the front of the race, but the French look very smooth. Great rowing from this from the Tourlan twins in first position.
Yeah, they're coming up towards us, towards the red buoys, and France still out in the lead. Absolutely right, Tim. Fantastic rowing from this French crew. Bit of a surprise to see the Italians off the pace, but they're coming towards the red buoys. Anything can still change.
Es ist das Boot aus Frankreich, welches das Rennen hier im Männer-Zweierone deutlich anführt. Es geht nur ein Boot direkt ins A-Finale und es sieht so aus, dass das die Franzosen sein werden. Etwas überraschend, dass die Italiener zurück sind. Die Weltmeister aus 2017 aus Sarasota können momentan nicht mit dem Speed mitgehen der Franzosen, aber sie sind momentan auf dem, where are they? Gillian, on which?
Yeah, the French out there in lane 6, and they're looking so fantastic. They've opened up just clear water back to the rest of the field. It looks like everybody else kind of shutting down, saving their energy for that repechage race later on. And the French just looking to be able to control this race across the line. Really fantastic stuff from the Tourlan twins out there in lane 6, far side of the water. They come up to the line now to cross in first and take that spot directly through to the A final. Little fist pump from Thibaut Tourlan there in the bow seat. And then coming up to the line, the British will take second, South Africa third, Belarus fourth, Italy will come through in fifth, and Germany in sixth. We'll see them all back in the repechage.
Es war das Boot aus Frankreich, welches das Rennen in 6:41,49 gewonnen hat. Vor dem Boot aus Großbritannien, gefolgt von Südafrika und den restlichen Booten aus Weißrussland, Italien und Deutschland.
We're already on the course with the second heat of the men's pair. In lane 1, Spain. In lane 2, Switzerland. In lane 3, Romania. In lane 4, France 2. In lane 5, Serbia. And in lane 6, Chile.
Das zweite Rennen des Männer-Zweierjones ist gestartet und es stehen folgende Boote am Start. Spanien, die Schweiz, Rumänien, Frankreich 2, Serbien und Chile.
So it looks like a very close race out there at the front of the field between Serbia, Romania, and France too. They're coming up towards you, Camilla.
Wonderful tussle here at the front of the field. It has been the Romanian combination of Tudosa and Kosmic in the centre of the lake that has been trying as they might to hold on to the lead from this wonderful Serbian pair that has had a great season so far. And through that second 500 metres, it's actually the Serbians now that lead by half a length over the Romanian combination who came fourth at the most recent European Championships. And in fact, it was the Serbians that beat them there into bronze medal position in Varese, with only one spot through again through to the A final. I think at the moment the Serbians looking good. They're up at 39 strokes a minute with the fastest moving boat speed on the course to push Romania into second. It's then the second French combination of Valentin and Théophile Onfoy. Great to see them back racing, but they are certainly going to have a tough time given how well the first French combination performed in the previous heat. It's then Spain that sit in fourth position ahead of Chile and Switzerland. Tim, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Looking to the Serbian crew in lane number 5, close to my commentary position. They are looking very dynamic coming in to the, I think, 1,300 meters gone, so 700 meters left to row. And it's the strokeman Milos Vasic setting the pace at 39 strokes a minute. Still maintaining a healthy lead, but looking to that crew from Romania with who are also having great rhythm, great pace. And I think the Romanians just went for a slight change of gear, not in terms of rate, but in terms of power, because they are already up at 40 strokes a minute with 500 meters left to go. But it's still the Serbian crew out in front with a little over a boat length lead with over a minute and a half left to row. And they look, you can see the effort etched on their faces as they move into the last part of the race. So the close contention will come from Romania, and it's the crew from Spain and the crew from France in third and fourth. Now passing the line, we can see the crew from Switzerland and the crew from Chile, who have just relaxed their rating to conserve some energy. But out in front, it's still Serbia.
Yes, they're coming up towards the red buoys, and Serbia looking absolutely fantastic. It was really the question mark was how would the Serbian crew perform? They came third at the European Championships a few weeks ago in Varese, but they're looking very good ahead of Romania. Let's keep an eye on it as they come into the final stages.
Es ist das Boot aus Serbien, welches das Rennen anführt. Vielleicht etwas überraschend vor dem Boot aus Rumänien, welches etwas zurück ist. Die Europameister von 2020 können mit dem Speed der Bronzemedaillengewinner, die von der Europameisterschaft in diesem Jahr nicht ganz mitgehen. Wenn wir etwas weiter hinten schauen, sehen wir das Boot aus Chile und der Schweiz, welche die letzten beiden Plätze des Vorlaufs belegen. Aber es sieht so aus, dass sie auch noch etwas Energie sparen möchten für die Hoffnungsläufe heute Nachmittag.
Into the final strokes here, and Serbia absolutely not letting up. They're powering their way home ahead of Romania, who look to have just let up that rate a little bit. They've gone to a 37. Maybe they've realized they're going to have to contest the repechage race. But coming across the line now, Serbia, fantastic performance in the second heat of the men's pair to claim that one spot through to the A final. Romania coming through in second. They'll have to go to the repechage. They're followed by Spain coming up to the line now. France too, through in that fourth position, and then we look back just a little bit of open water back to Switzerland and then Chile.
Es waren die Serben, welche das Rennen gewonnen haben, gefolgt von den Rumänen, und auf Rang 3 waren es die Spanier, Frankreich 2 auf Rang 4, danach auf Rang 5 das Schweizer Boot mit Camber und Berlocher und auf dem letzten Platz Chile.
On the course now, the first heat of the women's double sculls. In lane 1, the Czech Republic. In lane 2, Romania. In lane 3, Netherlands 2. In lane 4, China 2. And in lane 5, Italy 1.
Jetzt gerade gestartet der Frauen-Doppelzweier, das erste Rennen. 2 Boote gehen in den A-Final und es stehen folgende Boote am Start. Die Tschechische Republik auf Bahn 1, Rumänien auf Bahn 2, die Niederlande 2 auf Bahn 3, China 2 auf Bahn 4 und Italien 1 auf Bahn 5.
It's first 2 crews through to the A final, and that first position looking good for the Romanians, but a tight race behind them, Camilla.
Yeah, I think to be expected here, this Romanian combination of Radish and Bodnar just absolutely imperious at Varese, and they're doing exactly the same here in this first heat of the women's double sculls. A couple of lengths of clear water separated back to the Dutch combination. This is Netherlands 2, represented by Kolkman and Dulmans in the centre of the lake. They're holding that second position for now, but chasing going on around them between the Italians on the near side of the lake, a last last-minute crew change, bringing Clara Guerra into the stroke seat for Alessandra Montesano, but they seem to have not let that phase them. They're going well, only half a length back from that Dutch crew that sits in second. And on the far side of the lake to them, it's the Czech Republic also sitting in contention for that second spot, half a length back from the Netherlands. So as we rattle towards 500 metres to go, I don't think anyone's going to touch this Romanian crew, but it could be a three-way fight between the second Dutch crew, Italy one, and the Czech Republic coming your way, Tim.
Yeah, out in front and almost in front of me at the 1500, it's that crew from Romania looking in control of this race, well ahead of the rest of the competitors, with a surprise crew from the Netherlands in second position. They look really well, the combination of Tessa Dullemans and Ilse Kolkman. The latter rode the women's pair with José van Veen at the European Championships in Varese a month ago, now in the double, and they're in second position, but the challenge is being laid down by the crew from Italy in lane number 5 for that all-important second position, but closer to the finish tower we have the crew from the Czech Republic with Fleisnerova in the stroke seat, now challenging the Dutch for first position, and they may actually be in front at 1500 meters. It's difficult to tell, but it's Baubel for second position, and the Italians just gone for a change of gear to get into a second position and a place in the A final. But out in front, the Romanian crew looking in commanding lead, with I think 350 meters left to row, but everything to play for that final spot into the A final.
That's right, Tim. It's the first two through to the A final, so we're looking at that second spot. We're looking at who can get into that second position. The Czech crew from the Czech Republic actually qualified for the Tokyo Olympic Games already. We might expect to see them in that A final, but a really impressive stuff from the Romanians, just striding out in the lead as they come into the red buoys.
Die Rumäninnen zeigen, warum sie dieses Jahr Europameisterinnen geworden sind. Sie fahren hier deutlich vorne weg und geben immer noch Gas. Sie haben eine Schlagzahl von 39 Schlägen pro Minute, gehen sogar auf 40 Schläge und bauen ihren Vorsprung so deutlich aus. Dahinter ist das Ganze eine enge Angelegenheit zwischen Italien, den Niederlanden und der Tschechischen Republik. Momentan vielleicht leichte Vorteile für das Boot aus der Tschechischen Republik, aber es ist ganz knapp zu den Italienerinnen.
So Romania just coming up to the line now, out there in the lead, and then the two boats behind them, the Czech Republic and Italy on opposite sides of the course, trying to look across to see which one is in the lead. The Dutch have just dropped back here in the center of the course, and China as well, so that second spot's going to go to either Italy or Czech Republic. Romania up to the line now. They come across in first to take that spot through to the A final, and I think the Czech Republic is just going to have it as they come across the line. They do. Italy in that third spot. They'll have to go through the repechage. The Netherlands coming up to the line now in fourth, and China will come through in fifth.
Es war das Boot aus Rumänien, welches das Rennen deutlich gewonnen hat, 7 Sekunden vor der Tschechischen Republik, welche sich für das A-Finale qualifiziert haben. Auf dem dritten Rang war das Boot aus Italien, auf Rang 4 die Niederlande 2, auf Rang 5 China.
Coming down now, the second heat of the women's double sculls. In lane 1, Italy 2. In lane 2, China 1. In lane 3, Netherlands 1. In lane 4, the United States.
Das nächste Rennen ist der Frauen-Doppelzweier, der zweite Vorlauf, und am Start stehen Italien 2, China, die Niederlande 1 und die USA.
They've just crossed the 1,000-meter mark, Camilla, and it's looking like a tight race at the front of the pack.
Yeah, this is a wonderful race developing here on the Rotsee out at the front of the field in this second heat. And it's the Dutch combination of Lisa Skeenard and Rose de Jong that lead the way by half a length over the US combination of Jevi Stone and Christina Wagner, who have come here from the US to prove a point. The Olympic silver medalist in the stroke seat, trying to chase down this experienced Dutch combination that perhaps didn't have the best European Championships, missing out on a podium place in fourth, but here to rectify that and they sit now still in the lead, half a length ahead of the US. Back in third position, although that won't get them through to the A final, it's the Chinese duo of Shen Shengmai and Lu Jin Chao. That in lane number 2, well, I don't think they've got any overlap left now on the US. They've been chasing down the Dutch out at the front of the field. That's just managed to break them clear water of third, and in fourth it's the second Italian boat out of last year's women's 8 at the European Championships. Over to you, Tim.
Yeah, coming into view now, it's the orange bow of the Dutch crew of de Jong and Scheenaert in front of the race, with the American crew close behind them. There's still overlap between these two crews, who are looking in good positions to go to the A final. 1 and 2 to the A final, and it's a clear division between the two front runners and the two back markers. The Netherlands and the USA in front. It's a quarter of a length in advantage for the Dutch crew, and behind them it is China in third position and the second Italian crew in fourth. So it's I think a bit of a race for the honor of getting first in the heats between the Dutch and the American crew. I'm really looking forward to see what this American crew can do in this regatta, but the Dutch still in the lead by it's only a 3 meters advantage with 300 meters left to go.
You absolutely said it, Tim. I'm also very curious to see what this American crew can do. It's a new combination from the United States with that Olympic silver medalist Jevi Stone in the stroke seat, and they're trying to chase down the Dutch as we speak. Their boat speed is higher than the Dutch at the moment as they come into the final stages, but really interesting to see these two crews going stroke for stroke as they come up towards the line.
Der Doppelzweier der Frauen nähert sich jetzt gerade den letzten 52 Metern und es ist momentan noch das Boot aus Holland, welches das Rennen anführt, aber es ist ganz knapp mit dem Boot aus den USA. Jevi Stone hat jetzt gerade ihren Turbo gezündet und ist etwa 4 Meter an den Holländerinnen vorbeigefahren, aber es ist noch sehr eng und ich bin sicher, diese beiden Boote werden sich nichts schenken, obwohl sie sich beide für das A-Finale qualifizieren werden.
So this Dutch and American lead here, just taking them away from the Chinese and the Italians, who are dropping back slightly as they come up into the final stages of this race. We just saw a quick look across from Rose de Jong in the bow seat of the Dutch crew just to see where the Americans are, but those two crews looking set to go through to the A final, looking content in these positions. The Americans come across the line in that first spot, the Netherlands coming through in second, and then we look back to China, who will come through in third, and Italy in fourth.
Es war das Boot aus den USA, welches sich ganz knapp vor dem Boot aus den Niederlanden durchsetzen konnte und das Rennen hier im zweiten Vorlauf des Frauendoppelzweier gewonnen hat. Auf Rang 3 war es China und Rang 4 Italien. Diese beiden Boote werden im Hoffnungslauf heute Nachmittag wieder zu sehen sein.
We race back up the course for the first heat of the men's double sculls. In lane 1, China. In lane 2, Venezuela. In lane 3, Netherlands 2. In lane 4, Germany. And in lane 5, Finland.
Wir sind nun beim Männerdoppelzweier, dem ersten Vorlauf mit China, Venezuela, den Niederlanden, 2 Deutschland und Finnland am Start.
We've been talking about this race all morning. The Chinese, the world champions in lane 1. How's it looking out there on the course, Camilla?
Well, the rain falling with a little bit more force here at the halfway marker, and perhaps with the same force that the Germans have put into their first 1,000 metres, because they have flown out of the blocks. Mark Wieber and Stefan Krüger in lane number 4 here for Germany, currently leading the world champions in Zhong Liang and Liu Jihu. Well, we saw them last in Linz, and they were dominating the field to become world champions 2 years ago, but they sit back in second place. I'm not going to say that they look particularly pushed, though, in that second spot, which would take them through to the AB semi-final. They just seem to be gliding up the slide. They're just racing 36 strokes a minute, enough to keep them ahead of the Netherlands 2. The Netherlands 2 that sit in the middle of the lake, we've not seen them since the Junior World Championships back in 2019. This is their senior appearance here at the Lucerne Regatta at World Cup 2. And Tim, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the Dutch.
Yeah, certainly, Camilla. It's that Dutch combination of Wietse Moreau and Guus Mollet. Both learned their trade in Haarlem at the Spaarne Rowing Club. It's a very young combination here to gain some experience. They actually raced in 2019 in the Europeans in Duisburg under 23s, just missed out on a medal, and they do really well to be in third position. But the Chinese crew on the far side from my commentary position have done the damage in the third 500 meters. They have stretched away from the German crew, which led for the first kilometer, but it's now China out in front, the reigning world champions from Linz. The German combination of Krüger and Weber in that second position, so they go straight to the AB semi-final. The Dutch in third position. Then it's the crew from Venezuela and the crew from Finland just passing my commentary position. But a great race from the reigning world champions from China.
Yes, it is, Tim, as they come up towards us at the finish tower. Fantastic stuff from the Chinese. We were all very curious how they've progressed over the last 2 years since we saw them in 2019 in Linz, but they looked absolutely fantastic through that third 500 meters to sneak up into the lead ahead of the Germans.
Ja, die Chinesen zeigen, warum sie Weltmeister geworden sind 2019 in Linz. Sie fahren hier mit einer Schlagzahl von 35 Schlägen den Ziel entgegen, souverän, wie sie das machen. Auf dem zweiten Rang ist es das Boot aus Deutschland. Stefan Krüger, der 32-Jährige, sitzt dort am Boot. Er ist hinter Mark Wieber. Sie waren letztes Jahr neu zusammengekommen, nachdem Stefan Krüger noch mit Timo Lenaske in Linz gerudert war. Und diese beiden Boote, China und Deutschland, es sieht so aus, dass sie sich komfortabel für das Halbfinale qualifizieren werden.
So China with about 4 boat lengths open water ahead of the rest of the field, crossing the line now to take that first spot through to the AB semi-final. Germany coming through, looking very calm there, looking very content with their second spot through to the AB semi-final. The Dutch will come through in third. They'll have to contest the repechage race, this young crew from the Netherlands, and then coming through in that fourth spot will be the crew from Venezuela, and through in fifth, Finland.
Das Boot aus China hat das Rennen gewonnen, deutlich vor dem Boot aus Deutschland. Auf Rang 3 war die Niederlande, Rang 4 das Boot aus Venezuela und Rang 5 Finnland.
On the course now, the second heat of the men's double sculls. In lane 1, the United States of America. In lane 2, Poland. In lane 3, Egypt. In lane 4, Great Britain 1. In lane 5, Chile.
Nun hat das Rennen des zweiten Vorlauf des Männer-Doppelzweiers gestartet. Auf dem Kurs sind folgende Boote: die USA, Polen, Ägypten, Großbritannien 1 und Chile.
So they're coming up towards 800 meters in, and Poland out in the lead, but just slightly ahead of the British.
Yeah, and only slightly, Gillian, because the British closing in with every stroke. Just a lot of force and power here for these leading two crews, and it is only 2 spots through to the AB semi-finals in this men's double event. And Great Britain and Poland just, I think, playing a little bit of chicken, actually, because both of them down 36 strokes a minute for the British combination of Thomas and Collins. Poland's Bishkop and Zatarski also down at 35 strokes a minute. You can absolutely tell that separates them from the rest of this field. Clearwater back to the USA, who had a really brave first 600-700 metres or so, but unfortunately Kevin Cardno and Jonathan Kierkegaard just not sticking with this pace of the experienced Polish and British crews as they come through this third 500 metres. They did miss out on qualifying for the Olympic Games at last weekend's final Olympic qualification regatta, so it would have been a surprise to see them in these top 2 spots alongside the likes of Poland and Great Britain, Tim.
It is indeed those two crews looking very comfortable at the first and second positions. They have increased their rating slightly, going to 37-36 strokes a minute. It's the crew from Great Britain now trying to get past the crew from Poland, but those two crews are, well, perfectly safe for the AB semi-finals, if you would ask me. Many lengths of clear water ahead of the crew from the USA, Egypt and Chile here, close to my commentary position. It's bowel for bowel as they pass the three-quarter stage with the British crew just in front, 9/100ths of a second. And you can see that combination from Thomas and Collins trying to raise the rate, 38 strokes a minute. Definitely a little wind up as they come to you, Gillian, in the tower.
That's absolutely right. Just winding up the Polish. They're trying to push past the British as they come into the final stages. But I think this tussle at the front of the field has drawn them miles away of the following 3 crews from the United States, Chile and Egypt.
Es wird sicherlich das Boot aus Polen und das Boot aus Großbritannien sein, welche sich hier für das Halbfinale qualifizieren werden. Die Frage ist nur, welches Boot als erstes über die Ziellinie fährt. Sie wollen sich momentan nichts schenken. Polen fährt eine Schlagzahl von 40 Schlägen pro Minute und auch die Briten haben ihre Schlagfrequenz erhöht. Es ist ganz knapp, wer hier vorne sein wird. Dahinter sind die anderen 3 Boote und vielleicht interessant zum Wissen, im ägyptischen Boot ist Taimur Kantoni am Start. Er ist bereits 36-jährig und feiert hier heute seinen Einstand auf dem Weltcup. Er wohnt auch in Lucerne und startet für Ägypten, also etwas ein Heimspiel für das Boot aus Ägypten.
So the Polish and the British not letting up here at the front of the field. They're definitely secure through to the AB semi-final, but Poland wanted to have that better spot as they go in. A little fist pump from the Polish crew there as they cross the line just ahead of the British. But then we've got quite a bit of open water back to the rest of the field. If these positions stay the same, it's looking like the United States will come through in that third spot, going through to the repechage race. And then out there on the far side, Chile will take that 4th spot and Egypt 5th.
Es waren die Polen, welche sich eine halbe Länge vor den Briten durchgesetzt haben und das Rennen gewonnen haben. Auf dem 3. Rang ist die USA, Rang 4, Chile und am Schluss des Feldes ist es Ägypten mit dem Luzerner Taimur Kantoni, welches gerade jetzt die Finishline überquert hat.
The third heat of the men's double sculls. Third of 4 heats in the men's double sculls. In lane 1, Switzerland 2. In lane 2, the Czech Republic. In lane 3, Switzerland 1. In lane 4, Netherlands 1. In lane 5, Romania.
Auf diesen dritten Vorlauf des Men-Doppelzweiers haben sicherlich viele Schweizer gewartet, denn es sind 2 Schweizer Boote am Start, nämlich auf Bahn 1 ist es Schweiz 2 mit Kai Schätzle und Tim Roth, auf Bahn 2 ist es die Tschechische Republik, Bahn 3 Schweiz 1 mit Roman Rösli und Barnaby Delachs, auf Bahn 4 die Niederlande 1 und Bahn 5 Rumänien.
They've just passed you, Camilla, at the 1,000-meter mark. How's it looking out there on the water?
Drying up ever so slightly, the mist starting to move away from the mountains, but all heating up here on the water. This is certainly the heat I would not like to be in this well-contested men's double sculls. And it's tit for tat out at the front of the field through the 1,000 metres. It was the Dutch crew of Stef Bruynink and Melvin Twelaar that led by just a few centimetres ahead of Rosli and Dalars of Switzerland. The home organising committee will be pleased to see them punching up there. 37 strokes a minute, the Swiss crew in a qualifying position for the AB semi-final directly. But let's not be fooled, we've still got some experience sat in third place as well. Jan Cincebuc and Jakub Podrazel of the Czech Republic, one of the qualifiers from last weekend's final Olympic qualification regatta. So they'll be riding high on that fantastic qualification that they had last weekend. Currently sat back in third ahead of Romania and Switzerland too, just out at the back of the field. But what a great race here between these top 2 crews here, Tim. And you'll be pleased to see the Dutch right up there in the mix.
Yeah, definitely, Camilla. Very pleased to see the rower from my club, Stef Bruynink, in the lead of this race. And actually a bit surprised that that crew, which is a relatively heavy crew, are rating for 38, 39 strokes a minute for almost the entirety of the race. Now 3/4 of boat length up on the first Swiss crew in second position, and then it's as you mentioned, tit for tat for third and fourth position. The crew from Romania raising their game to get into third position, but I think they have a lot of work to do to catch up with the leading duo. On the far side we have the Czech Republic in fourth position, I think, and then it's the young combination from Switzerland too, falling off the back of the field and actually now dropping back to conserve some energy for the repechage. But 1 and 2, it must be the Swiss first crew and the Dutch, Gillian, as they come to you.
I think you're right, Tim. I think they've done enough through that third 500 meters of the race to just get in the lead and stay there, hold off those charges from the Romanians and the Czech Republic. The Dutch are just leading the Swiss as they come up to the final stages of this race.
Es sind die Holländer, das erste Boot, welches das Rennen im Moment anführt vor den Schweizern. Aber wir wissen ganz gut, Roman Rösli und Barnaby Delars, sie können sprinten und sie können die letzten 52 Meter so schnell fahren wie kein anderes Boot. Die Frage ist nur, möchten sie diesen Sieg hier oder nicht? Im Moment sieht es so aus, dass sie es nicht ganz so fest möchten, denn die Niederlande ziehen davon und es sieht so aus, dass niemand mehr hier sich einmischen möchte.
I think Michi's right. The Swiss definitely can sprint, but they haven't chosen to here in this third heat of the men's double. They look content to come across in second to the AB semi-final. The Dutch will take that first spot coming across the line now. Switzerland won, coming through in second, and Romania just missing out in that third spot. They'll go through to the repechage race. The Czech Republic taking their rate down there to come across the line in fourth, looking set to go through to the repechage, and Switzerland 2 coming up behind them in fifth.
Es war das Boot aus den Niederlanden, welches das Rennen nach Hause gefahren hat, etwa 3 Sekunden vor der Schweiz. Diese beiden Boote qualifizieren sich für das Halbfinale. Auf Rang 3 Rumänien, auf Rang 4 die Tschechische Republik und am Schluss des Feldes die Schweiz, das zweite Boot.
On the course now, the last heat of the men's double sculls. In lane 1, Lithuania. In lane 2, Ireland. In lane 3, Great Britain 2. And in lane 4, France.
Nun noch das letzte Rennen des Männer-Doppelzweiers heute Morgen. Auf Bahn 1 ist es Litauen, Bahn 2 Irland, Bahn 3 Großbritannien 2 und auf Bahn 4 Frankreich, welche nun sich der 1000-Meter-Marke nähern.
The French have had such a fantastic season so far, but right now the Irish are just beating them a little bit as they come up towards you, Camilla.
Yeah, Ireland seem to be back on form after their slight blip in performance back at the Europeans, where they ended up in the B final in 7th position. But Philip Doyle and Ronan Byrne here, coached by Giuseppe De Vita, just trying to cling on to the bow ball here of this wonderful French crew. I know a favourite of many spectators who will be tuning into our audio commentary, Matteo Androdias and Hugo Boucheron, the world champions from back in 2018, have just been so imperious over the season at the European Championships, at the World Cup earlier on in Zagreb, and they've been a delight to watch. But Ireland sticking with them stroke for stroke here out at the front of the race. And in fact, I think Ireland have just taken the lead for the first time in this heat, and we could be seeing a return to form here for Philip Doyle and Ronan Byrne. These two crews well clear of the rest of the field. Back in 3rd position, Lithuania. We'd expect to see a Lithuanian sculling boat certainly up in and around competing for the qualifying positions, but this new combination perhaps off the pace somewhat. And Great Britain's second crew of Sam Meyer and Jonathan Walton just trailing in 4th. But interesting to see the Irish back here, Tim.
Definitely, and looking very good as they come past me, rating 38 strokes a minute. They look really nicely composed. Back to form, as you mentioned, Camilla, but the French crew isn't too sloppy either, because they are actually underrating the Irish crew and keeping the deficit to a boat length, and that is looking very well. Actually, very good boat speed from the French crew, just 10 meters back from the Irish, who are leading this heat. On the far side, you can see the crew from Lithuania in 3rd position, and we have the crew from Great Britain with the young Samuel Meyer, the 3-time under-23 world champion, having decided that they'll go for the repechage, and they have just wound down their rating to 22. But out in front still at 39 strokes a minute, it's the crew from Ireland.
Yeah, Tim, that's right. And I think it's a good call for the French. They've rated very low this entire race. So really interesting to see what they'll do throughout the rest of the weekend. Maybe conserving just a bit of energy here in this first heat, knowing they've got a semi-final and a final coming up. But the Irish out in front as they come storming towards the line.
Ja, was für eine Überraschung. Nicht die Franzosen sind es, welche das Rennen hier anführen, sondern Irland, die Siebter an der Europameisterschaft dieses Jahr geworden sind, was natürlich etwas eine Enttäuschung war für die WM-Silbermedaillengewinner von 2019. Jetzt zeigen sie, dass sie wieder in Form sind und sie führen hier das Rennen mit einer etwas mehr als einer Länge an vor den Franzosen, und die Franzosen haben es sogar aufgegeben, das irische Boot unter Druck zu setzen.
So the Irish coming up to the line now. They'll take that first spot through to the AB semi-final. The French looking content. They've just dropped their rate right down just to tap it across the line, taking that second spot through to the AB semi-final. Coming through in 3rd is Lithuania, and back down the field, just coming across nice and easy, will be Great Britain 2.
In einer sehr schnellen Zeit von 6 Minuten 16 im Vergleich zu den anderen Vorläufen hat Irland das Rennen gewonnen. Frankreich auf dem 2. Rang ist schon deutlich mit 8 Sekunden zurück. Auf Rang 3 Litauen, und auf dem 4. und letzten Rang fahren die Briten über die Ziellinie in wenigen Sekunden.
Switching gears, we head up to the start for the first heat of the lightweight women's single sculls. In lane 1, Norway. In lane 2, Germany. In lane 3, Switzerland 2. In lane 4, Netherlands 1. And in lane 5, Japan.
Das erste Leichtgewichtsrennen des Tages ist eben gestartet und es ist der Frauenleichtgewichtseiner. Auf Bahn 1 Norwegen, Bahn 2 Deutschland, Bahn 3 die Schweiz, Bahn 4 Holland und auf Bahn 5 Japan.
So these crews already approaching 800 meters, and maybe not such a big surprise to see Martina Veldhuis of the Netherlands out there in the lead.
Indeed, Gillian. Martine Veldhuis of the Netherlands out in the front of this pack, but it's still fairly close between the crews in the centre lanes next to her. We've got Eileen Roll back for Switzerland after her appearance just a few weeks ago, where she unfortunately capsized at the first World Cup of the season, but she's back here and performing well in second place, just ahead of Katrin Thoma of Germany, who again performed well, a silver medal back in Zagreb a few weeks ago, and looking to stay with this leading pack of three to make their way through to the AB semi-finals. It's then quite a trail, a few lengths of clear water back to Japan and Norway, who sit level. This is a great race at the back of the field for Natsumi Yamaro of Japan and Oda Argson of Norway, the under-23 lightweight single sculler from 2018, now contesting here at senior level for Norway. But as we go through the 1,000 metres, it's still those initial three crews that I mentioned. Martina Veldhuis for the Netherlands ahead of Eileen Roll of Switzerland and Katrin Thoma of Germany. So we'll have to see if they want to put themselves into a better position for the semi-final. They're all still with overlap respectively by about 3/4 of a length each. And in fact, actually, if anything, Katrin Thoma now, who sits in third position, just starting to charge on Eileen Roll, wanting to make the most of this third 500 metres as she pushes on. She's at 34 strokes a minute, just sticking with that overlap that Eileen Roll has, but clear water Martina Veldhuis has at the front of the field. It's been a great morning for the Dutch so far, Tim.
Yeah, definitely. And Martina Veldhuis, good to see her back to form. She was a little bit off color in Varese, where she came fourth to her own disappointment. Missed out on a medal, but she's back here at the Rothsee and leading this first heat of the women's lightweight doubles. Great news from my commentary position here at the three-quarter mark. It stopped raining for now, I must add. It's perfect conditions as these women approach me in my commentary position here in the water. Martina Veldhuis is still out in front, looking very comfortable at 34 strokes a minute, leading by almost a boat length over Eline Roll from Switzerland too, who is also having her eye towards the German scholar, which Camilla already mentioned, Katrin Thoma from that German scholar, well, in third position and all looking very comfortable with 500 meters left to row. I think these three crews will go to the AB semi-final with Martina Veldhuis just breaking clear of Eline Roll in second position. For fourth and fifth position, it's a great race for between the Japanese scholar and the Norwegian scholar, with the Japanese scholar Yamario just in front in fifth position. But it's looking like a row over for that leading three crews, Gillian. Those three looking set for the AB semi-final.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if those three need to pick up their rate at all, if they want to practice that sprint. Sometimes these athletes want to get one little extra sprint in just to see how it feels in their legs as they go forward. But looking quite set for those three to go through to the AB semi-final. But anything can happen, as Eline Roll knows. So it's important to race to the last stroke here as they come up towards the red buoys.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für die Schweiz, für Eline Roll, für eine nächste Halbfinalqualifikation. Sie ist vorne in der Dreiergruppe, welche sich wahrscheinlich direkt für das Halbfinale qualifizieren wird. Mit dabei ist auch die Holländerin Martina Veldhuis und Katrin Thoma aus Deutschland. Diese drei Ruderinnen fahren hier können fast gemütlich ins Ziel fahren. Sie haben im Moment immer noch eine relativ gute Schlagzahl, so zwischen 32 und 33, aber die Positionen sind verteilt und es sieht so aus, dass Holland das Rennen gewinnen wird vor der Schweiz und Deutschland.
Martina Feldhaus out in the lead, looking very controlled here as she comes up to the line, rating 33 strokes per minute, just tapping her boat along ahead of Eline Roll of Switzerland, who's looking set to come through in that second spot through to the AB semi-final. And then Katrien Thome just looking good to claim that third position ahead of Norway and Japan.
Das Rennen wurde wirklich von Holland gewonnen. Eline Roll wurde Zweiter und Katrien Thome Dritte auf Rang 4 und nicht qualifiziert direkt für das A-Finale ist Japan und im 5. Rang dann Norwegen.
Coming this way is the second heat of the lightweight women's single sculls. In lane 1, China. In lane 2, Switzerland 1. In lane 3, Great Britain. In lane 4, Netherlands 2. And in lane 5, France.
Der zweite Vorlauf des Frauenleichtgewichtseiners nähert sich eben der 1000-Meter-Marke und es ist China, die Schweiz, Großbritannien, Holland und Frankreich, welche hier um die 3 Plätze für den direkten Halbfinaleinzug kämpfen.
They're already past you at the 1000-meter mark. Camilla, how does it look?
Yeah, well, it's been a great performance so far for last weekend's debutante from China, Li Huye Ru, who sits in lane number 1. She's led until the halfway marker, but was part of that excruciating lightweight double scull that missed out on qualification. She's now moved into the single scull and is actually at jeopardy of facing the same fate as Susanna Duncan of France, the ex-Great Britain sculler who's now representing France in the lightweight single scull, and the under-23 champion in this boat class whilst representing GB is starting to charge. She's moving through the field now, looking extremely long, 32 strokes a minute, and well, actually now the fastest moving boat on the course comes from the centre of the lake. Sophia Miakin, the under-23 world champion in the lightweight women's double scull and a gold at Zagreb in this boat class. She's also starting to close up and around China, who have led the way. But China responding here now with these top 3 spots through to the AB semi-finals. Tim, do you think that the Dutch can catch up to this leading pack?
Well, we do know that Femke van der Vliet has a good sprint in her legs, but she has an awful lot of work left to do because Susanna Duncan, representing France here in 3rd position, is almost a boat length in front of the young Dutch sculler in lane number 4. But great race indeed from the Chinese sculler in lane number 1. She looks really in control, 32 strokes a minute, not rating too high with 500 meters to go. Second position for the home favorite Sophia Miakin in her boat. She rode very impressive on Lake Jarun in Zagreb a couple of weeks ago, looking to keep her winning ways on home water. But the Chinese sculler looks really impressive with 300 meters left to row. I think it's going to be China, Switzerland 1 and France to the AB semi-final.
I think you're right, Tim. We'll keep an eye on the Dutch and the British as they come into the final stages just to see if they can catch up on that early lead. But fantastic stuff from China and Switzerland 1, Sophia Miakin.
Es sieht ähnlich aus wie im letzten Rennen. Die Schweiz ist momentan auf dem 2. Rang, diesmal hinter China. Und auf Rang 3 ist Frankreich, die ehemalige britische Athletin, welche nun neu für Frankreich fährt, hat schon etwa eine Länge Vorsprung auf den 4. Rang. Im Moment sieht es so aus, dass diese 3 Ruderinnen sich direkt für das Halbfinale qualifizieren werden.
We see Great Britain's Madeline Fiona Artlett up at 38 strokes a minute, 39 strokes a minute, desperately trying to get back into one of those direct spots into the AB semi-final. But I think it's going to be too little too late, as China is still leading the way ahead of Switzerland 1 and France as they come into the final few strokes of this race. But quite a tightly packed group here in this lightweight women's single sculls. A second heat as they come up towards the line. Fantastic stuff from China to stay out in the lead. Sophia Meakin also just tapping her boat along behind the Chinese sculler. And then Susanna Duncan out there on the far side, holding off that British charge, but she's fading slightly. And as she comes up to the line, I don't know if Great Britain's going to have enough time to get back on it, but I don't think she does. So coming across the line, we see China in that first spot, Switzerland 1 coming through in second. France, Susanna Duncan just holds off the fast-charging British sculler for that third spot through to the AB semi-final. And Netherlands 2 comes across in fifth.
Am Schluss wurde es noch einmal ganz eng, aber die Ruderin aus China konnte sich durchsetzen und sie hat das Rennen gewonnen vor der Schweiz, Sophia Meakin. Und auf dem dritten Rang ebenfalls für das Halbfinale qualifiziert ist Frankreich. Rang 4 die Britin, Rang 5 Niederlande 2.
And now for the third and final heat of the lightweight women's single sculls. In lane 1, Italy 2. In lane 2, Belarus 1. In lane 3, Italy 1. And in lane 4, Ireland.
Nun noch der letzte Vorlauf des Frauenleichtgewichts-Einers mit Italien 2 auf Bahn 1, Weißrussland 1 auf Bahn 2, Italien 1 auf Bahn 3 und Irland auf Bahn 4.
Through the 1,000-meter mark, that looks like a fantastic race, Camilla.
Yeah, it's an all-Italian affair out here at the front of the field, and you could throw a blanket over the leading three crews. At the moment, it's Paola Piazzolla of Italy that was the initial lightweight sculler for the Italians in this category, a bronze at the Poznan Europeans back in 2020, but a surprise entry for them sitting back in second, and only just a few centimetres back, Federica Cesarini, who we usually expect to see partnered up with Rodini. They stormed to gold at the Europeans in Varese, but finding herself now here in the single scull, but it's not holding her back. She's right up there with her teammates, and that third and final qualification spot is currently being held by Lydia Heafy of Ireland, sixth at the European Championships in Varese. She's just sat up here with these leading two Italian scullers, doing enough to keep herself in the mix. She's rating 33 strokes in a minute in comparison to Piazzolla's 30 strokes a minute. Just winding down now. I think these leading three crews know that they're well ahead of Tatiana Hancharova, who just had some problems coming into the 1,000-meter marker. She lost a blade on a buoy. She had to reconsole herself, and so that's spat her back out to the back of the field, Tim.
Yeah, that's just too bad for her, but she has the repechage to get back into contention. But out in front it is still those three scullers, two Italians, lightweight women scullers. But now coming to the front of the race, it's Lydia Heafy from Ireland. Certainly the Irish crews are making their presence known on and off the water here at the first or second World Cup, with Lydia Heafy just moving into the lead over the Cesarini from Italy on the in lane number 1, and you can see that the first crew from Italy is winding down just 28 strokes a minute, knowing well that she is on her way to the AB semi-final. But no let up in terms of race rhythm and pace from Lydia Heafy, with 350 meters to go. They're coming into view of you, Gillian.
That's right, Tim. It's always interesting. As we mentioned in the previous race, sometimes these athletes like to just test out their sprint, make sure they can feel it in their legs, make sure they know what it's going to be like as they go into that AB semi-final. And Lydia Heafy from Ireland definitely looking like she wants to do that. She's out there in the lead. She wants to maintain it, have that best spot into the AB semi-final, but looking very secure for the other two Italian boats to also go through to the AB semi-final.
Es sieht momentan sehr gut aus für die irische Athletin, für Lydia Hiffy, welche das Rennen momentan anführt, gefolgt von der Europameisterin von 2019, hier auf dem Rote von Federica Cesarini. Sie war allerdings danach im Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweier sehr erfolgreich unterwegs und hat auch dieses Jahr den Europameistertitel gewonnen, eben im Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweier. Nun ist sie wieder im Einer unterwegs als Italien 2. Aber sie hat die Nase vorn vor Italien 1.
So Lydia Heafy into her final few strokes here, out there in the lead for Ireland. Behind her, Federica Cesarini of Italy 2, and then Paola Piazzolla of Italy 1, looking set to come across in that third spot. Those three will go through to the AB semi-final, and we'll see Belarus 1 back in the repechage.
Die Irin ist nun eben gerade über die Ziellinie gefahren mit einem deutlichen Vorsprung vor Italien 2, vor Federica Cesarini und dem dritten Boot, welches sich ebenfalls für das Halbfinale qualifiziert. Das ist Italien 1, Paola Piazzolla. Und am Schluss des Feldes fährt nun gerade die Weißrussin über die Ziellinie.
Coming down the course now, the first heat of the lightweight men's single sculls. In lane 1, France 1. In lane 2, Italy 1. In lane 3, Algeria 2. In lane 4, Sweden. And in lane 5, Portugal.
Nun eben unterwegs das Männer-Leichtgewichts-Einerrennen. Der erste Vorlauf auf Bahn 1, Frankreich, Bahn 2, Italien, Bahn 3, Algerien, Bahn 4, Schweden und Bahn 5, Portugal.
So Pierre Rouen, the Olympic champion from the lightweight men's double sculls, out there in lane 1, but going stroke for stroke with Niels Torre of Italy.
Yeah, coming through the 1,000 metres, Pierre Huard of France, who's found himself in this non-Olympic boat category, having been pushed out of the lightweight double for the French team, challenging for the lead. He looked at the 1,000 metre marker and decided to take a quick glance left to Niels Torre, the race leader from Italy, the silver medalist from the Poznan European Championships in 2020, and that was his marker to move. And now these two at the front of the field exchanging blows, bow ball for bow ball, but really not too far ahead of the battle for third. And actually it's Algeria's Sidali Badina that is, well, quite close to these leading two, not too far back, striking 35 strokes a minute. It's then a little bit further that we need to shift our attention for fourth place, which is Portugal's Dinis Costa, ahead of Ahmet Rapi of Sweden, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Camilla. Standing where I am, I can see a great push from Niels Torre from Italy, moving into the lead of this race, half a boat length up on the Olympic champion from Rio, Pierre Rouen from France, in lane number 1, who is dropping back slightly. But a fantastic race from Budina from Algeria, staying into contact with these two scullers, and that's great to see. The last time we saw this sculler from Algeria was in Linz in 2019, where he raced the lightweight double. Now here on Lake Lucerne, having a great race in this first of 3 heats for the lightweight men's doubles. But Italy still out in front, followed by France, Algeria, Portugal and Sweden.
Yeah, they're coming towards us, and a really nice race from Niels Torre, that young Italian sculler out there in the lead, just ahead of Pierre Rouen. And I think you're right, Tim, those three with Algeria 2 looking set to go through to the AB semi-final, but still about 250 meters left to race.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für die Boote von Frankreich, Italien und Algerien, welche momentan an der Spitze des Feldes rudern. Etwas dahinter das Boot aus Portugal und am Schluss des Feldes das Boot aus Schweden. Yeah, it's Pierre Rouen in the single, back in the single, we have to say. He was already in the single 6 years ago when he was European champion in Poznan, that was. So what do you think? He's now just overtook the Italian scholar Niels Torre. What is capable of?
Yeah, he went up to 36 strokes a minute to overtake the Italian to get that better spot into the AB semifinal. I think Pierron likes to race in the single, and he's out here in the lead. He just wanted to secure that top spot. I don't know, Michi, we're going to see how it goes this weekend for him, but interesting to see him back in the lightweight men's single. He comes across the line ahead of Niels Stoe of Italy, and coming through in that third spot for Algeria, Sid Ali Boudina, and coming across in fourth, I think, will be Portugal. He comes up to the line now, and fifth, Sweden.
Es war Pierre Huin, der am Schluss noch den Italiener Niels Stoe überholt hat und das Rennen für sich entscheiden konnte auf dem dritten Rang und ebenfalls qualifiziert für das Halbfinale ist der Algerier Sid Ali Boudina und auf Rang 4 der Portugiese, nicht qualifiziert für das Halbfinale, und im letzten Rang der Schwede Ahmed Rabi.
On the course now, the second heat of the lightweight men's single sculls. In lane 1, the USA. In lane 2, Spain. In lane 3, Italy 2. In lane 4, France 2. In lane 5, Germany 2.
Im zweiten Vorlauf des Männerleichtgewichtseiners ist die USA in Bahn 1, Spanien in Bahn 2, Italien 2 in Bahn 3, Frankreich 2 in Bahn 4 und Deutschland 2 in Bahn 5.
It's an Italian affair in the lightweight men's single sculls. Martino Goretti out in the lead, Camilla.
Yeah, the unmistakable style of Martino Goretti for Italy in the centre of the lake, using these beautifully flat conditions to show why he is the world champion in this boat class from back in 2019. But a great race developing behind him, just to his left, between the French second sculler Ferdinand Ludwig, fresh out of the under-23 silver medal winning lightweight men's double for France back in Sarasota, and Simon Klüter of Germany, who we've not actually seen since 2017. Again, another lightweight from the under-23 stepping up here, and they're going head-to-head for second and third. Back in third position at the moment, well, it's just about the Spanish sculler leading the US, but what a great race here behind Martino Goretti, Tim.
Yeah, it's the unmistakable style. You mentioned it already, Camilla, from the lightweight veteran from Italy, Martino Goretti, out in front, looking comfortable, rating 33 strokes a minute, so not rating too high, but he doesn't need to because he's well ahead of the rest of the field. A couple of lengths up on the second crew from France with Ferdinand Ludwig in that crew, and in lane number 5 we see Kleuter from Germany in third position, but yeah, out in front it looks so smooth, so styled to perfection, with 500 meters left to row. It's Italy 2 out in front, closely followed by France 2 and Germany 2, and now crossing the 1500 meter mark, it's the sculler from the USA, and the Spanish sculler dropped back halfway through the third 500 meters, now rowing at 23 strokes a minute, so he is already has his mind set on the repechage. But great to see Martino Goretti out in front, Gillian.
Yeah, fantastic scull for Goretti here out in the lead. He's racing here as Italy too. The Italians are waiting until August to do their national team selection. So Goretti here, as he says, just for fun, but he's out in the lead ahead of France 2 and Germany 2. Those three crews looking quite set to go through to the AB semifinal unless the US can do anything in the final strokes.
Es ist Italien, Frankreich und Deutschland, welche hier an der Spitze des Feldes sind, und es sieht so aus, als ob sich diese drei Boote für das Halbfinale qualifizieren werden. Martino Goretti führt das Feld momentan an, der 35-jährige Italiener, welcher im letzten Jahr die Selektion für die Europameisterschaft verpasst hat, aber jetzt wieder zeigt, dass er in Form ist und bereit für die interne Qualifikation im August, welche dann ansteht.
So coming into the final stages here, Martino Goretti just holding his lead ahead of Ferdinand Ludwig of France, just to secure that spot into the AB semi-final. Germany too, Simon Klüter looking good for that third spot. The United States and Spain have both taken their rates straight down. They're looking content to take those places in the repechage and come back later to try and get into those AB semi-finals. But coming up to the line now, Martino Goretti of Italy will take that first spot through to the AB semi-final, followed by Ferdinand Ludwig of France 2 and Simon Klüter of Germany 2 coming through in third.
Es war Martino Goretti, welches das Rennen für sich entscheiden konnte in einer Zeit von 7:09:35. Auf dem zweiten Rang Ferdinand Ludwig von Frankreich und Rang 3 der Deutsche Simon Klüter. Weiter hinten, immer noch auf der Strecke, ist das Boot aus den USA, James McLaughlin. Er fährt mit einer sehr tiefen Schlagzahl von 22 Schlägen pro Minute in diesem Moment über die Ziellinie und am Schluss des Feldes der Spanier, welcher ebenfalls in ein paar Sekunden über die Ziellinie fährt.
On the course is the third and final heat in lightweight men's single sculls. In lane 1, Japan. In lane 2, Ireland. In lane 3, Chile. In lane 4, Algeria 1. In lane 5, Germany 1.
Im letzten Vorlauf des Männerleichtgewichtseiners ist Japan auf Bahn 1, Irland auf Bahn 2, Chile auf Bahn 3, Algerien auf Bahn 4 und auf Bahn 5 Deutschland.
These crews already passed you, Camilla. How's it shaping up?
Yeah, great race out here at the front of the field between the leading three crews. And just as the train whizzes past us here, a very notable experience here in Lucerne. The athletes head now into this third 500, and it is Cardenas Morales of Chile in the centre of the lake that has the better between himself, Germany's Joachim Agner, and Ireland's Gary O'Donovan that sit level just a few centimetres back, but they are closing in on the leading sculler. And it's really fascinating to see actually how different crews have responded to racing at the final Olympic qualification regatta, which is exactly what the Chilean sculler has done. He missed out in the semi-finals last weekend, but he's now leading this experienced field. Joachim Agner for Germany, who sits in second place, a silver at the World Cup back in Zagreb. And, well, of course, we all know Gary O'Donovan, don't we, Tim?
Yeah, definitely famous Irish sculler now having a great push at I think the 1400 meter mark. We saw a little change of gear coming from O'Donovan in lane number 2 to maintain his lead over the sculler from Chile. But still the German Joachim Agner in third position, or perhaps even second position in this heat. He is moving to the front of the race. O'Donovan just a half a boat length in front of the German sculler, followed then by Cardenas Morales from Chile in third. Now crossing the line we can see Kamel Ait Daoud from Algeria in fourth position, and on the far side we see the sculler from Japan in fifth. But it's everything to race for. Great to see O'Donovan out in front, but I'm curious to see, Gillian, what the German sculler can muster in the last part of this race.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these positions shifting, Tim. Obviously, Gary O'Donovan making his move there in the middle section of the race, and Joachim Agner also pushing up through the middle section of the race, and we'll see if he has enough boat speed to carry him through Gary O'Donovan as they come into the red buoys.
Ja, der Ire Gary O'Donovan hat etwas einen langsamen Start hingelegt. Er war nur der fünftschnellste auf den ersten 500 Metern, aber hat dann mächtig aufgedreht und die Führung des Rennens übernommen. Momentan ist er immer noch etwa eine Länge vor dem Deutschen und es sieht so aus, dass er das auch nach Hause bringen kann. Aber auch noch interessant zu sehen, Gillian, the Algerian scholar Kamel Ait Dadoud, he's normally in the lightweight double, but he's racing now in the single, also his colleague. Do you know why?
Yeah, Michi, these two scullers have to place for their national federation, have to place higher at a World Cup, and they thought they could do that better in the lightweight men's single sculls here. They're not training together in Algeria. They're training in different parts of the country. So they're here competing in the lightweight men's single sculls for those places, and then they'll go into the double sculls again for Sabaudia. But coming up to the line, Gary O'Donovan going to take that first spot through into the AB semifinal from the third heat of lightweight men's single sculls. Joachim Achner of Germany coming through in second. Chile coming through in third, qualified directly through to the AB semi-final. And then Algeria 1 will come through in that fourth spot. He'll go through to the repechage race along with Japan.
Irland, Deutschland und das Boot aus Chile haben sich direkt für das Halbfinale morgen früh qualifiziert. Auf dem vierten Rang ist es Algerien und auf Rang 5 Japan.
Storming down the course now is the race for lanes in the women's 4. In lane 1, Denmark. In lane 2, Romania 2. In lane 3, Great Britain. In lane 4, Romania 1. In lane 5, Poland. And in lane 6, the Netherlands.
Nach dem Einer gehen wir in die Großboote, nämlich in den Frauen-Vierone mit Dänemark auf Bahn 1, Rumänien 2 auf Bahn 2, Großbritannien auf Bahn 3, Rumänien 1 auf Bahn 4, Polen auf Bahn 5 und auf der Außenbahn die Niederlande.
So the Dutch rowing with a substitute on board, Sophie Sauer in the bow seat, but they're out there in the lead through the 1,000-meter mark, Camilla.
Yeah, and they're not the only crew with a substitute on board. Sitting in second place, Great Britain with substitute Cara McMurtry in the 3 seats. This crew trying to fend off currently Romania that sits alongside them, Poland as well, who got a silver medal back at the 2017 World Championship. So this preliminary race is a really hot one. Only one crew here that's not going to be racing at Tokyo later on this summer, and that's the second crew from Romania in lane number 2, but as it stands, what a fantastic performance here from the Dutch. As you say, Sophie Sauer in the bow seat, who's come in from the single scull from the first World Cup, and it's certainly not made this boat go any slower as they look absolutely beautiful out in front. So much time around the back end. They're down at 37 strokes a minute in comparison to the centre of this field, who are all up 1 pip higher at 38 strokes a minute, but really tight for those minor positions, Tim.
Yeah, definitely, Camilla. It's the Dutch crew out in front looking very nicely, considering they have a substitute on board. But the rower in the 3 seat, Imke Clevering, mentioned that despite the change of crew, they intend to win every single race, and they are in a great position to do so. Several lengths ahead of the rest of the field, but the field is packed very tightly for the places 2, 3 and 4, with Great Britain still in the second position, the first Romanian crew currently in third, and the Polish crew in fourth. On the far side, we can see the crew from Romania 2 in fifth position, and the Danish crew rowing very well, but dropping off the field with 400 meters left to row. That Dutch crew does look very good, doesn't it, Gillian?
Yes, they absolutely do. They're on the far side for me up here in the Finnish tower, but they're looking fantastic out there on the far side of the course. Very interesting to see how their speed is shaping up, even with a substitute on board. Also the British with a substitute on board. So fantastic to see those two crews leading as they come into the final few hundred meters.
Es ist das Boot aus den Niederlanden, welches das Rennen im Frauen-Vierone anführt. Sie haben eine Ersatzfrau im Boot, nämlich Sophie Sauer. Sie ist momentan in der Bugposition. In den letzten Jahren war sie im Schoolboot unterwegs, aber sie hat eine große Erfahrung im Riemenboot und macht einen fantastischen Job hier in der Crew. Und sie fahren weiterhin den anderen Booten davon und führen etwas mehr als eine Länge vor dem Boot aus Großbritannien.
So the Dutch just looking controlled as they come up to the line. Great Britain holding off a huge challenge from Romania. Won here in this preliminary race for lanes in the women's four. The Dutch come across first. Great Britain hold off the Romanians to come through in second. Romania in third. Poland will come through in fourth. And then looking back to Romania too. And Denmark coming through in the fifth and sixth positions.
Die Niederlande haben das Rennen gewonnen, etwa 3 Sekunden vor dem Boot aus Großbritannien auf Rang 3, Rumänien 1, auf Rang 4 Polen und Rang 5 Rumänien 2 und am letzten Platz Dänemark.
On the course now, the first heat in the men's four. A quick update in the men's four. The Dutch have not started this race due to an illness in the boat. They're currently being tested, and we'll see them back if they're all cleared. We'll see them back in the racing of the repechage race later on. But on the course, in lane 1, Ireland. In lane 2, Poland. In lane 3, Switzerland 2. And in lane 5, Great Britain.
Nach diesem interessanten Rennen im Frauen-Vierone gehen wir zum Männer-Vierone, zum ersten Vorlauf mit Irland auf Bahn 2, Polen auf Bahn 2, Irland auf Bahn 1, die Schweiz 2 auf Bahn 3. Die Niederlande können leider nicht antreten, da ein Ruderer erkrankt ist, aber wenn alles gut läuft, werden sie morgen im Hoffnungslauf wieder dabei sein und Großbritannien ist auf Bahn 5.
So these 4 crews out there on the water, Camilla, first 2 through to the A final. How does this race look?
Well, I think the expected crew is currently in the lead, and that is the crew from Great Britain. They have been the ones to bring down and they are now a length ahead of Poland, the world champions back in Linz in 2019, where they overhauled the British into bronze medal position. But the tables have turned now this season, and the British have just been absolutely remarkable this season. I must admit that by halfway, usually we'd expect this, to see the crew of Carnegie, Gibbs, Rossiter and Cook with clear water by this point. But the bow ball of the Polish crew, just with a tiny, tiny bit of overlap onto the stern of Great Britain. And so these 2 crews, I don't think Ireland, who sit in 3rd place, this new crew, a very young crew from Ireland, stepping up from the junior Coxed 4 back in 2019, are going to come anywhere near these 2 world medalists. But we have seen some surprises so far, haven't we, Tim?
Yeah, definitely. But it's not a surprise that the British crew are leading, because they looked so good in training yesterday. They really crank on the boat every single stroke, with Schulte Carnegie in that stroke sheet setting a wonderful rhythm, 36 strokes a minute, which has taken them well into the lead. But the Polish crew, the 2019 world champions, in a solid 2nd position, and a great race from the Irish to be in 2nd position. And at this stage, the Dutch missing, of course, so the Swiss crew is currently in 4th position, but out in front it's still that crew from Great Britain looking very good indeed.
Yeah, I think no one can stop the British here in this men's four, the first heat of the men's four. But Poland definitely giving it their all. We'll see if they can make up any ground as they come into the final stages. But those are the 2 crews looking set to go through to the A final.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für das britische Boot, welches als erster die letzten Meter in Angriff genommen hat. Die Europameister von diesem Jahr führen deutlich vor den Weltmeistern aus Linz 2019, dem polnischen Boot. Diese beiden Boote werden sich voraussichtlich direkt für das A-Finale qualifizieren. In Hoffnungslauf müssen Irland und die Schweiz.
The European champions from Great Britain coming up towards the line now. A bit of open water back to Poland, the world champions from back in 2019. But the British come through the line in first to take that first spot through to the A final. Poland will come through in second. Ireland looking to come up to the line in third. They'll go through to the repechage race together with Switzerland too.
Das britische Boot hat das Rennen für sich entscheiden können vor dem polnischen Boot. Auf dem 3. Rang das irische Boot und auf Rang 4 die Schweiz, welche noch alles versucht haben, an das irische Boot heranzukommen, aber es hat nicht ganz gereicht. Sie werden im Hoffnungslauf eine neue Chance haben.
Coming down now, the second heat in the men's 4. In lane 1, Switzerland 1. In lane 2, South Africa. In lane 3, Romania. In lane 4, the Netherlands 2. In lane 5, Italy.
Im zweiten Vorlauf des Männer-Viererone ist die Schweiz auf Bahn 1, Südafrika auf Bahn 2, Rumänien auf Bahn 3, die Niederlande 2 auf Bahn 4 und Italien auf Bahn 5.
This Dutch boat has gone off like a rocket off the start. They're currently in the lead, but a very tight field as they come up on 800 meters.
Yeah, the Dutch top crew, Netherlands 1 out of the running for now, just with regards to our COVID protocols here at World Cup 2. But that's certainly not stopping them from their second boat leading the way in this second heat of the men's 4s, with the top 2 through to the A final. And they look fantastic. I'm going to let my fellow co-commentator Tim van Vliet talk a little bit more about the Dutch, as we've heard whispers that this crew is incredibly fast. But closing in second, it's the Romanian crew, the World Championship silver medalists and the European silver medalists that are so close. They are half a canvas back on the Dutch that have really gone off like a rocket. And then either side of them, well, it's South Africa. They've won the final Olympic qualification regatta in this combination, so we know they're quick. They've booked their tickets to Tokyo, but they currently sit in third outside of an A final direct qualification spot alongside Italy. And this Italian crew, 3 of the crew Olympic bronze medalists from Rio, so much quality in the middle of this field. So it's just amazing to see now the Romanians rattling up through the race. They're up at 41 strokes a minute, Tim, to try and take on this Dutch crew.
Wow, what a fantastic race in this heat of the men's 4. We see the silver medalist from Romania in the lead, but 41 strokes a minute already. They're just past the 1250, so 600 meters plus left to row. And that Dutch crew, the young combination of Ralf Rings, Jacob van der Kerkhoff, Michel Mantel and Rick Rings, that crew really surprised coaches with their speed during training sessions, and they've been given an opportunity to race against the best of the field, and they're doing very well. Currently in third position, because that crew from South Africa is coming to claim a second position. The Romanians just holding on to the lead, half a canvas in front of South Africa, with the very fast Dutch crew in third position. So it's going to be a hectic final here in the first heat, but it's looking very good. Italy dropping back a little bit, and the first Swiss crew also dropping back, but it's everything to play for. 43 strokes a minute from the Romanian crew as they come into the charge for the line, Gillian.
Yeah, such a fantastic race in the second heat of the men's 4. I think that Dutch crew is having the race of their lives, stepping up here to the senior level. That very quick young Dutch crew, but the South Africans coming back here, and they've taken over that second spot together with Romania directly through to the A final.
Was für ein interessantes Rennen hier im zweiten Vorlauf des Männer-Viererone. Es ist das Boot aus Rumänien, welches das Rennen momentan anführt, ganz knapp vor dem Boot aus Südafrika. Die Südafrikaner hatten sich letzte Woche am Sonntag für die Olympischen Spiele in Tokio qualifiziert und zeigen auch hier, dass sie in Form sind. Etwas dahinter momentan das Boot aus den Niederlanden, welches aber ein fantastisches Rennen macht und die beiden Boote aus Italien und der Schweiz hinter sich lassen können.
Up to the line here in Romania and South Africa, just ahead of the Dutch, who are just slipping back slightly as they charge up into the final stroke. South Africa looking very strong. They might even get the win ahead of Romania. That's too close for me to call, but they put their fist up into the air. I think they're happy with that. South Africa and Romania, those two through, I'm not sure in what order, to the A final. It comes up on my screen here. South Africa have done it. They've gotten that first spot through to the A final ahead of Romania. Netherlands too come through in third. They're followed by Switzerland 1 and Italy, who will have to contest the repechage.
Ja, ein freier Tag muss verdient sein und das haben sich die Südafrikaner und die Rumänen nicht geschafft. Hat es die Niederlande 2, welche ganz knapp hinter den rumänischen Boot ins Ziel gekommen ist. Auf dem 4. Rang sind es die Schweizer doch schon deutlich zurück und im letzten Rang Italien, welche am Schluss sogar noch etwas Energie gespart haben für den Hoffnungslauf morgen.
We just have a very short break here. The next race gets underway in just under 10 minutes with the first heat of the women's single sculls.
Wir haben eine ganz kurze Pause hier auf dem Rotsee in Luzern. In etwa weniger als 10 Minuten geht es weiter mit dem Frauen-Einer, unter anderem dort am Start die Weltmeisterin Sanita Puspore aus Irland.
World Rowing. The World Rowing Federation is the governing body of the sport of rowing. It's empowered by its 156 member national rowing federations, the National Olympic Committees, and the International Olympic Committee. World Rowing sets the rules and regulations for the practice of sport in all its forms: elite, para-rowing, coastal, masters, and aspects of indoor, and provides advice and expertise for the organization of rowing regattas, coaching education, rowing development, and other matters relating to the sport and its development. World Rowing sponsors. World Rowing Cup 2 Lucerne 2021 would like to thank the following international sponsors and partners for their support. WWF. WWF, one of the world's largest and most respected independent nature conservation organizations, is working to protect freshwater ecosystems and improve water access, efficiency, and allocation for people and the environment. One of the aims of the strategic alliance between WWF and World Rowing is to harness rowers all around the world to take actions that will protect water. KRRC, the Kafui River and Rowing Center. World Rowing, together with the WWF, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, is building a water research and rowing center in Kafui, Africa. It will be a place where water scientists and students from schools and universities around the world can research, study problems, find solutions, and share their results with all of us. Thanks to your donation so far, this center is becoming a reality. The land has been purchased, architects are designing the layout, and construction will soon commence. Even so, World Rowing and WWF still need your support. Please make a donation towards this center on our worldrowing.com website.
World Rowing und die Lucerne Regatta danken den folgenden Schweizer Partnern.
World Rowing and the Lucerne Regatta would like to thank the following Swiss partners.
Schindler. Bei der Digitalisierung des Aufzugsgeschäfts ist Schindler eine Bootslänge voraus. Dank digitaler Vernetzung werden Probleme behoben, bevor sie entstehen. Hinter dieser Leistung stehen mehr als 65.000 Mitarbeitende in über 100 Ländern.
When it comes to digitalizing the elevator business, Schindler is way ahead. Thanks to digital networking, problems are solved before they even occur. More than 65,000 employees in over 100 countries are behind this achievement.
Hirslanden. Die Klinik St. Anna ist der Medical Partner der Lucerne Regatta.
Our medical partner of the Lucerne Regatta, Clinic St. Anna Lucerne, member of the Hirslanden Group.
Phänomen. Phänomen Mode und Lifestyle. Der Mode eine Bootslänge voraus. Das phänomenale Modehaus für Sie und ihn mitten in der Altstadt von Luzern. Dort macht Einkaufen Spaß.
Phänomen Fashion and Lifestyle, a boat length ahead in fashion. The exceptional fashion store for both ladies and men in the center of Lucerne's Old Town. Enjoy shopping at Phänomen.
Erima. Erima Sportswear. Dein kompetenter Teamsportausrüster, auch für deinen Verein. Erima ist offizieller Bekleidungspartner der Lucerne Regatta.
Arima Sportswear, the team sports clothing specialist. Official sportswear partner of the Lucerne Regatta.
Eichhof. Genießen Sie jetzt das erfrischendste Eichhof aller Zeiten. Das spritzige Eichhof Radler. Ein anregendes und leichtes Genusserlebnis mit natürlichem Zitronensaft und nur 2% Alkohol.
Enjoy the most refreshing Eichhof of all times now. The most tangy Eichhof Radler. A brisk and light enjoyment with natural lemon juice and only 2% alcohol.
Ramsayer. Ramsayer Swiss AG ist mit den Traditionsmarken Ramsayer, Sinalco und Elmer der Erfrischungspartner für die Lucerne Regatta.
Ramsayer Swiss AG, soft drink producer with a long-standing tradition. Soft drink sponsor of the Lucerne Regatta.
Schweizerische Lebensrettungsgesellschaft. Wir wünschen allen einen ungetrübten Rudersport. Sicher im, am und auf dem Wasser, dank den Rettungsschwimmern der Schweizerischen Lebensrettungsgesellschaft SLRG, der Sicherungsdienst der Lucerne Regatta.
SLRG, the Swiss Life Saving Society, wishes all competitors a successful and secure event. The SLRG is present for all safety issues in, on, and around the water at the Lucerne Regatta. Partner for water rescue services for the Lucerne Regatta.
ZSO Pilatus, Zivilschutz Emme. Ohne unsere geschätzten Zivilschützer ZSO Pilatus und Zivilschutz Emme könnten wir die Lucerne Regatta nicht ausrichten. Herzlichen Dank und einen Applaus für den tollen Einsatz.
ZSO Pilatus and Zivilschutz Emma, two sections of the Civil Protection Service of Switzerland, providing outstanding support in staging the Lucerne Regatta.
Swiss Rowing, Partner der Lucerne Regatta.
Swiss Rowing, partner of the Lucerne Regatta.
SRF, ein Sporthighlight verpasst? Kein Problem. Mit den Sendern und Online-Plattformen der SRG SSR sehen Sie alle Sporthighlights täglich und in Wiederholungen. Das Schweizer Radio und Fernsehen SRF ist stolz, der offizielle Broadcast-Partner der Lucerne Regatta zu sein.
SRF, the official TV media partner of the Lucerne Regatta.
Luzerner Zeitung. Die Berichterstattung über die Lucerne Regatta und die offiziellen Resultate finden Sie jederzeit auf luzernerzeitung.ch.
The official Lucerne Regatta's results and comments can be found anytime online at luzernezeitung.ch.
Radio Pilatus. Offizieller Medienpartner der Lucerne Regatta, Radio Pilatus.
Radio Pilatus, the radio station of our region, official media partner of the Lucerne Regatta.
Tele 1. Zentralschweizer Fernsehen. Mies Eis in der Region.
Tele 1, the TV station of Central Switzerland, local TV media partner of the Lucerne Regatta.
Karl F. Bucherer. Seit 1888 steht die Luzerner Uhrenmanufaktur Karl F. Bucherer für Qualität, Innovation und Leidenschaft. Der Karl F. Bucherer Spezialpreis zeichnet daher die Sieger im Frauen- und Männereiner in Luzern für deren außergewöhnliche Leistungen mit einer exklusiven Luxusuhr aus der eigenen Manufaktur aus.
We race back up to the start line for the first heat of the women's single sculls. In lane 1, representing Ireland, Sanita Puspura. In lane 2, representing the Netherlands, Bente Boonstra. In lane 3, representing Serbia, Jovana Arsic. In lane 4, representing Austria, Magdalena Lobding. And in lane 5, representing Sweden, Lovisa Gleason.
Nach einer kurzen Pause sind wir nun wieder zurück und es geht weiter mit dem ersten Vorlauf des Frauen-Einers mit Irland auf Bahn 1, Niederlande auf Bahn 2, Serbien auf Bahn 3, Österreich auf Bahn 4 und auf Bahn 5 das Boot aus Schweden.
Just hearing the buzzer go off there at the start, and they're off in this first heat of the women's single sculls. One of the races we've been looking forward to most all day, and no surprise to see Sanita Puspuro going off like a rocket up there at the start. 50 strokes a minute I saw come up on the screen, but that's a very good start for all 5 scullers out there on the water.
Ja, wir haben schon lange auf dieses Rennen hingefiebert, denn es sind verschiedene Boote am Start, die eine längere Pause hinter sich hatten, wie beispielsweise Sanita Puspure, welche dieses Jahr noch nicht in Erscheinung getreten ist, aber jetzt schon ziemlich deutlich ihren ihre Stärke gezeigt hat beim Start. Sie führt nämlich das Rennen zusammen mit der Österreicherin Magdalena Lobnig an.
As they approach the 250-meter mark here, Magdalena Lubnig of Austria, together with Sunita Puspura of Ireland, just going stroke for stroke up there at the front of the course. They've already managed to get a little bit of distance back towards the following Serbian Jovana Arsic and the Dutch sculler Bente Bonska, a young sculler from the Netherlands, just stepping up here to the senior level. And Jovana Arsic, having qualified for Serbia earlier this year at the European qualification regatta, qualifying her boat for the Tokyo Olympic Games, together actually with Lovisa Claesson of Sweden, rowing out there in lane 5. But I think it's not a huge surprise to see both Magdalena Lubnig and Sunita Puspura getting their bows out early in this race, arguably the two most experienced scullers out there on the water.
Ja, es ist keine Überraschung, dass das Boot aus Irland, Sunita Puspure, zusammen mit Magdalena Lobnig das Rennen hier anführt. Magdalena Lobnig ist ja bekannt für ihre schnellen Starts und Sunita Puspure für ihre starken mittleren 1000 Metern. Also es sieht so aus, dass Sunita wahrscheinlich noch an Magdalena Lobnig vorbeifahren wird. Und wir sehen gerade jetzt, dass schon bei 500 Meter Magdalena Lobnig einen ganz, ganz kleinen Vorsprung, einen Buchball vielleicht vor Sunita Puspure, ein Buchball vor Magdalena Lobnig ist.
Yeah, my co-commentator Michi just explaining there that Magdalena Lubnig, known for her quick starts out there on the water, but Sunita Puspura really comes through in the middle of the race to push up. And we're seeing that happen now, although we're seeing them really go just bow ball for bow ball here. One and then the other coming up on our screen as the leaders as they come up on the 750-meter mark. Camilla, how do these two scullers look out there to you?
Well, they've got glorious conditions here now that the rain has sort of moved away from the centre of the course here on the Rothsee. It is flat, calm, like a mill pond out here at the 1,000-metre marker. Stunning conditions for single sculls, I might add. But yes, you're absolutely right. These two scullers at the front of the field, Magdalena Lubnig of Austria and Sunita Puspure of Ireland, the two that you'd expect to see from this first heat of the women's single sculls. But there is a third spot through to the AB semi-final that we can't forget about at the moment. Jovana Arsic of Serbia, like you say, Gillian, a great season for her so far, and a bronze medal to cap it off at the World Cup back in Zagreb. But unfortunately, she's just not on the pace that the world champion Sunita Puspure is putting out, and the gold medalist from that same event at Zagreb, Magdalena Lubnig, in lane number 4. They're going to be dead level as they come through the 1,000-metre marker. My system here is saying that Sunita just with the edge for Ireland over Lobnig, but the two of them unfazed, unfussed, as they just use the time in this third 500 to establish their race rhythm. And it's clear water back to Arsic, who is going to have to watch that third qualification spot. Lovisa Claesson of Sweden starting to move up now through this third 500. She's at 33 strokes a minute, and she's matching the boat speed of Arsic of Serbia. The Netherlands also not out of it yet. 3/4 of a length back on that fight for the third and final qualification spot. There's so much noise coming from the boating area. I can hear it from the far side of the lake here, spurring on these athletes. But it's just fantastic to see Sunita Puspure back out on the water. We've not seen her since the Poznan Europeans back in 2020, where she was victorious, a gold medal there. And of course, she's definitely one to watch later on this summer in Tokyo. But definitely Lubnig still staying with her here, Tim.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Irish sculler hasn't managed to pull more than a half a boat length lead over the Austrian sculler Magdalena Lubnig in second position. With 600 meters left to row, it's looking very good for Ireland and Austria. And the third place still up for grabs, but Jovana Arsic from Serbia is looking very well positioned to take that third spot to the AB semis. Looking a little bit further back, we can see Lovisa Claesson from Sweden dropping back 30 2 strokes a minute, but she has been passed by the young Bente Boonstra from the Netherlands. I actually coached her older brother in university rowing once, but it's great to see she's only been rowing for a couple of years and already rowing here on the Rothsee. It must be a privilege, but she has earned that privilege, no doubt, because she was the under-23 world champion in the women's 8 at only 19 years of age. So definitely a talent to keep your eye on for the future, but I'm also keeping an eye out on the quality and class at the front of the race with Ireland's Sanita Puspur in the lead, now increasing her lead over Magdalena Lobnik with by almost a full boat length as we come into the final 250, Gillian.
Yes, I love that, Tim. The quality and class of Sanita Puspur out there in the lead for Ireland. Definitely looking on form. We were curious to see how her form would be in this 2021 season, but definitely looking on form out there ahead of Magdalena Lobnik. And we'll keep an eye on that third position, but currently sitting with Jovana Arsic of Serbia through to the AB semi-final.
Ja, es sieht sehr gut aus für Sanita Puspure, die Weltmeisterin und Europameisterin. Europameisterin vom letzten Jahr. Dieses Jahr ist sie, wie schon gesagt, nicht gefahren und es ist der erste Auftritt der 39-jährigen Irin. Sie macht das wunderbar hier an der Spitze des Feldes. Sie hat einen sehr schönen, langen, kraftvollen Schlag und fährt hier dem Ziel entgegen. Auf dem zweiten Rang ist es Magdalena Lobnik. Sie hätte eigentlich schon in Varese an der Europameisterschaft fahren sollen, beziehungsweise sie ist gefahren, aber sie musste während der Regatta abmelden, da sie erkrankt ist. Auf dem dritten Rang momentan und ebenfalls auf einem Qualifikationsplatz für das Halbfinale ist die Serbin.
I just saw a glance around from Sanita Puspur to the right to see where she was, to the left to see where Magdalena Lobnik was, but she's secure coming across the line now to take that first spot through to the AB semi-final, followed by Magdalena Lobnik of Austria and Jovana Arsic of Serbia, having done enough early on in this race to get that third spot. But a nice race from the young Bente Boonstra of the Netherlands coming through there in fourth. Then we look back to Lovisa Claesson of Sweden, who will come across in fifth.
Es sind die Boote aus Irland, Österreich und Serbien, welche sich direkt für das Halbfinale AB qualifiziert haben. Nicht qualifiziert und im Hoffnungslauf ist die Niederlande und Schweden.
Coming down the course now, the second heat of the women's single sculls. In lane 1, Belarus. In lane 2, Great Britain. In lane 3, Cuba. In lane 4, Russia. And in lane 5, Switzerland won.
Im zweiten Vorlauf des Fraueneiners stehen die Boote Weißrussland, Großbritannien, Kuba, Russland und die Schweiz am Start. Und what do you think, Gillian? Who is going to be the winner of this race?
Well, it's a very good start for the Russian sculler Hanna Prakatstin, and I'm curious to see how she progresses throughout the weekend, but also good for Victoria Thornley out there on the water, Camilla.
Yeah, this is another heat where I've looked at the lineup and gone, this is a tight one to be in, certainly. And it's Hanna Prakatstin of Russia, the person that blew us all away through the European qualification regatta, and then her dominance in Varese was just stunning to watch, coming from, well, not many notable results prior to that. Certainly none in the single scull, but she currently leads by clear water ahead of Great Britain's Victoria Thornley, the silver medalist from the double scull back at the Rio Olympics. But hot on the heels, it's then a really tight tussle for that third semi-final spot, that direct spot in the AB semi-final between Tatiana Klimovic for the Belarusians. She qualified at the final Olympic qualification regatta last weekend, so she's well versed in racing, she's warmed up, but then she's up against Janine Gemelin, who's also pressing for that third and final spot in the AB semi-final, the world champion from 2017, Tim. I wouldn't like to count her out.
Definitely not, especially considering Klimovic has several more races in her legs already. But she's looking good on the fast side. But I think Janine Gemellen is trying to secure her third spot. But there's precious little between those two scullers. Still out in front, we see Hanna Prakatsa from the Russian Federation, just over a boat length in front of Victoria Thornley in second, and Janine Gemellen now really pushing on for that third and final spot into the AB semi-final, with Klimovic from Belarus slipping back ever so slightly, and the Cuban sculler now just passing me at the 1500 meter mark. But class of the field still Hanna Prakatsa of the Russian Federation.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Tim. Really interesting to see the different racing styles here. We know Janine rose a little bit like a Kiwi, a little bit like a New Zealander with that really good third 500 meters, and she's using that to her advantage as they come towards us. She used that to push ahead of the sculler from Belarus, Tatiana Klimovic, but no doubt about it, Hanna Prakatsa in the lead ahead of Victoria Thornley of Great Britain, with Janine Gemellen in that third spot as they come into the red buoys.
Ja, die Boote nähern sich dem Ziel. Sie haben jetzt gerade die roten Bojen überquert. Das heißt, es geht noch 52 Meter bis ins Ziel und es ist immer noch die Überraschungsfrau aus Russland, Hanna Prakatsa. Es wurde Europameisterin, ziemlich überraschend dieses Jahr in Varese. Sie ist eigentlich eine erfahrene Mannschaftsbootruderin. Von 2014 bis 2016 war sie im Frauenachter- und Frauendoppelvier unterwegs. Jetzt ist sie Einer und sie zeigt, dass sie den Einer absolut im Griff hat. Sie rudert hier an der Spitze des Feldes. Auf dem zweiten Rang ist es Victoria Thornley, ganz knapp noch vor der Schweizerin Janine Gmelin. Die Weltmeisterin von 2017 möchte hier nicht Dritter werden. Sie möchte auf den zweiten Rang vorfahren und sie gibt alles, hat ihre Schlagfrequenz auf 36 Schläge erhöht und ist etwa auf gleicher Höhe wie Victoria Thornley.
Yeah, Victoria Thornley just having to go up to 37 strokes a minute to hold off a fast charge from Tatiana Klimovic, and she might get Janine Gemellen on the line. I'm not quite sure there, Michi. I think Russia's Hanna Prakatsa was safely out in front, and then it was a very tight race between Switzerland, Great Britain, and Belarus in those final strokes. So I'll just wait for that to come up on the screen, but I can confirm Hanna Prakatsa of Russia came through in first. Second went to Victoria Thornley of Great Britain, and Janine Gemellen held on to it just there at the end ahead of Tatiana Klimovic of Belarus, who went through in fourth. And then we look back to Milena Venega-Cancio of Cuba.
Ja, es wurde nochmal ganz eng am Schluss des Rennens, aber es hat sich Hanna Prakatsa durchgesetzt vor Victoria Thornley aus Großbritannien und Janine Gmelin aus der Schweiz. Diese drei Boote qualifizieren sich direkt für das Halbfinale AB. Über den Hoffnungslauf müssen Weißrussland und die Ruderin aus Kuba.
Storming down the course now, the third heat of the women's single sculls. In lane 1, Mexico. In lane 2, Greece. In lane 3, the USA. In lane 4, Trinidad and Tobago. And in lane 5, China.
Wir sind schon im dritten Vorlauf des Frauen-Einers und Mexiko, Griechenland, die USA, Trinidad und Tobago und China sind dort am Start.
Already through the 1,000-meter mark. How does it look to you, Camilla?
Yeah, still glassy conditions here for the single sculls, and I've been looking forward to seeing the return of Cara Cola in the centre of the lake here representing the United States, and a good return it is for her as well as she leads this field by just over a length here ahead of China's Zhang Yan in lane 5. Then back in third, well, it's not Annetta Kiridou, who we're used to seeing in the single scull, but Maria Kiridou, her younger sister for Greece, just 20 years of age. Annetta, if you're tuning in, your sister is currently in that third and final slot through to the AB semi-final, but is being pushed hard and really hard by Lechuga Alanis of Mexico, who sits just to her right in lane number 1. How is that race developing, Tim?
A very impressive race from the American sculler. Going with her is the sculler from China with Yan Yang, who is, I think, just half a boat length behind the American sculler, Kara Cowler, who is looking very relaxed at this stage. 500 meters left to row, and she looks really sharp. The blades disappear into the water at the front end of the stroke very quickly, and she levers the boat past it very elegantly. 31 strokes a minute, so not pushing at all with 500 meters to go. So USA out in front, China second, and it is Maria Kiridou of Greece in third. And it is almost level pegging between Mexico and Trinidad and Tobago for fourth and fifth. But out in front it is Kara Kohler from the United States of America.
Yeah, Tim, that's absolutely right. Fantastic stuff from Kara Kohler, that bronze medalist from back in 2019, but her first international appearance since then. So really interesting to see her form as she's out there leading the way down the course ahead of China and Greece.
Es ist das Boot aus den USA, Kara Kohler, welche das Rennen anführt. Die Siegerin der US Trials zeigt, dass sie diesen Platz verdient hat und fährt ein wunderbares Rennen hier, setzt ihre große Körpergröße voll ein. Auf dem zweiten Rang ist die Griechin, auf dem zweiten Rang ist die Chinesin, welche im Moment mit einer Schlagfrequenz von 32 Schlägen pro Minute die Ruderin aus den USA verfolgt, und auf dem dritten Rang ist die Griechin.
So coming into the final stages of this race, Kara Kohler looking fantastic out there in the lead. Just a stunning performance from the American sculler here on the Rotsee, but also right behind her is the Chinese sculler Zhang Yang, just keeping up with her here, taking the boat along. Those two looking very set to go through to the AB semi-final. And then Maria Kiridou of Greece coming out of that women's pair and into the single sculls. Very impressive stuff from her. But coming across the line, Kara Kohler of the United States taking that first spot. Zhang Yan of China coming through in second. Maria Kiridou of Greece looking set to take that third spot directly through to the A final. And then we've got a close race, but I think it will go to Trinidad and Tobago for that fourth spot. She'll go through to the repechage, followed by Mexico's Kenya Lechuga Alanas, who will come through in fifth.
Die USA, China und Griechenland qualifizieren sich direkt für das Halbfinale AB. Trinidad und Tobago und Mexiko müssen im Hoffnungslauf heute Nachmittag antreten.
Switching to the men's singles sculls, we have the first heat in the men's singles sculls. In lane 1, Moldova. In lane 2, Germany 2. In lane 3, Belarus. In lane 4, Italy 2.
Wir sind nun im Männer-Einer, dem ersten Vorlauf, und wir haben Moldawien, Deutschland, Weißrussland und Italien, welche hier um die Plätze für den Viertelfinal kämpfen.
These crews already coming up on that 1,250 meter mark. Tim, I think they're closer to you out on the water. How's it looking?
And it's been a good race so far, just passing 1250 meter mark, so the crews are just passing the boating area. And currently it is the crew Gennaro Di Mauri from Italy, so that second Italian crew in the lead, but not by much, but because the sculler from Belarus is close behind, just I think, just a canvas behind. And trucking with them is Stefan Riemekassen from Germany in third position, and in lane number 1 we have the sculler from Moldova, who is dropping slightly off the back of the pack, but out in front we have two clear front runners with Gennaro Di Mauri from Italy rating a pretty dynamic 36 strokes a minute, been maintaining the highest boat speed of the entire field, but the far lower rating sculler from Belarus, Filip Pavukau, with just 30 strokes a minute, is able to maintain contact with the Italians. So that's a big difference between the styles and rhythms. But those two crews looking good to go to the quarterfinal, but 1, 2, 4 will go to the A final. But there has been some changes in how the crews progress. Perhaps you can tell a bit more about that. But in terms of racing in this first of 6 heat, it is Italy out in front, followed by Belarus, Germany third, and Moldova in fourth.
Yeah, Tim, you're exactly right. We had a bit of a change to the progression system due to withdrawals from the Dutch, one of the Dutch men's single scullers. So it's 4 through to the quarterfinal. So all 4 of these scullers will progress through to the quarterfinal. There will not be an E final in the men's single sculls. So 4 crews out there on the water. These 4 will go through to the quarterfinal. But it's really interesting to see how this race is shaping up with the Italian sculler out there. Fastest, Gennaro Di Mauro, the young Italian sculler, leading the way as they come towards the red buoys.
Es ist der italienische Ruderer Gennaro Di Mauro, welches das Rennen hier anführt im ersten Vorlauf des Männer-Einers. Gefolgt wird er von dem Weißrussen Filip Pavuku. Er hatte letzte Woche versucht, sich noch für die Olympischen Spiele in Tokio zu qualifizieren, hat es aber leider nicht geschafft. Etwas eine Enttäuschung für den Medaillengewinner an der EM 2019 hier auf dem Rotsee. Nun sieht es besser aus für ihn. Er qualifiziert sich hier auf dem 2. Rang für das Viertelfinale. Und auf dem 3. Rang rudert momentan der Deutsche Stefan Riemenkasten, ganz knapp vor dem moldawischen Ruderer.
So coming up to the line now, Italy 2 still in the lead out there. He'll be followed by Belarus. Filip Pavuku coming across the line now. And then in that 3rd spot, we'll go to Germany 2, Stefan Riemenkasten. And coming through in 4th is Moldova.
Es war Italien vor Weißrussland, vor Deutschland und am Schluss des Feldes Moldawien, welche die Ziellinie überquert haben.
On the course now, the second heat of the men's single sculls. In lane 1, Ireland. In lane 2, Norway 2. In lane 3, Benin. In lane 4, Germany 1. And in lane 5, Brazil.
Auf der Strecke befindet sich nun der Männer-Einer, der zweite Vorlauf mit Irland, Norwegen, Benin, Deutschland und Brasilien an der Startlinie.
These crews quickly progressing towards you, Camilla, and Ollie Zeidler, no doubt about it, is out in the lead.
Definitely Zeidler's kind of conditions out here on the water. A very smooth 32 strokes a minute. He just looks like he's walking through this first heat of the men's single sculls. Slotting into that second position, clear water back, it's Dare Lynch of Ireland, who unfortunately didn't qualify this boat for the Tokyo Olympics for Ireland at last weekend's FOQR, but he's back here again and performing well in second spot for this heat. Then in third position, it's a toss-up between the Brazilians and the Norwegians. Brazil's Lucas Vertein Ferreira, the Americas qualified boat for Brazil, ahead of Petamir Tufte for Norway, out of the men's double and into the single now. These two just fighting it out between themselves, clear water back from the leading 2 crews. A shout out to Privil Hinkati of Benin, who sits in the centre of this lake, back again after a break following the World Championships back in 2019, where he finished 39th. But Tim, nobody can match the power that Zeidler has to offer in this first heat.
Yeah, Camilla, definitely. It's power, but it's also very much poise. With these conditions, it looks very smoothly. As Oliver Zeidler is passing me well with just 32 32 strokes a minute, I think. Yeah, 32 strokes a minute for the German sculler, and looking so relaxed in his arms and shoulders. It almost looks like he's not really putting all his effort into the leg drive. Having a bit of a look around to see where he is on the course, but he is definitely one of the crews to the A final. And there, Lynch on the far side from my commentary position in lane number 1, rating slightly higher, but also looking calm and collected. And just passing me now, it's the Brazilian sculler Vertain Ferreira in 3rd position. 4th will go to, I think that is the Petter Miretufte from Norway, and Privel Henkati just passing me now. But yeah, Oliver Zeidler looking with his mind already on the quarterfinal, looking relaxed and looking very good to take a 1st position in the 2nd heat of the men's single.
They're approaching the finish area now, and Ollie Zeidler just stunning out there in the lead. Really long, powerful strokes, as you say, Tim. No one can stop him. Der Lynch of Ireland currently in that 2nd position, and 3rd currently sitting with Brazil.
Ja, es ist Oliver Zeidler, der hier zeigt, warum er einer der besten Ruderer der Welt ist. Er muss nicht mal voll an seine Grenzen gehen, kann im Moment mit 25 Schlägen pro Minute dem Ziel entgegencruisen. Auf dem 2. Rang ist es der Lynch von Irland, welcher ebenfalls sich komfortabel für das Viertelfinale qualifizieren kann. Danach Brasilien, Norwegen und Benin.
Just a quick update on the progression system here in the men's single sculls. The last sculler from each race will not progress directly through to the quarterfinal. So in this race, the first 4 scullers go through to the quarterfinal out of the 5 scullers out there on the water. So as they come up to the line, Ollie Zeidler looking set to take that first spot, and he will go through to the quarterfinal, followed by Der Lynch of Ireland. And coming through in 3rd is Lucas Ferreira of Brazil, and Norway looking set to take that 4th spot through to the quarterfinal, with Privel Henkati of Benin coming through in 5th. He will just miss out.
Es sind die Boote aus Deutschland, Irland, Brasilien und Norwegen, welche sich direkt für das Viertelfinale qualifizieren können.
Coming down the course now, the 3rd heat of the men's single sculls. In lane 1, Bermuda. In lane 2, the United States of America. In lane 3, Netherlands 1. And in lane 4, Sweden.
Es sind die Boote aus Bermuda, USA, Niederlande und Schweden, welche im 3. Vorlauf des Männereiners um die Plätze im Viertelfinale kämpfen.
Past 1,000 meter, and John Graves of the United States out to the lead, Camilla.
Yeah, another unparalleled lead. Sort of reminds me of the lead that Zeidler had in one of the earlier heats. Lengths of clear water for John Graves of the USA out of the men's quad and into the single for this season. Unfortunately for him, the FOQR last weekend, he didn't manage to qualify this single for the USA, but he's performing extremely dominantly here ahead of 2nd place Finn Florijn of the Netherlands, the 21-year-old, 11th at the Poznan Europeans, and a bronze from the under-23 back in 2019, is setting him up well for a promising senior career as he sits in 2nd ahead of Dara Alizada of Bermuda. And as things come towards you, Tim, I don't think anyone is going to catch John Graves here.
No, definitely not. Unless he catches a crab and falls over, I don't think anything can go wrong for John Graves from the USA. Looking good with 600 300 meters left to row, 32 strokes a minute, and good boat speed from coming from him in lane number 2, but looking very much in control as the rain here at the three-quarter stage intensifies slightly. He is, I think, the American sculler is 2, 3, 4 lengths of clear water ahead of the rest of the field, with a great battle developing between the sculler from Bermuda and the Netherlands, Flynn Verheyen, looking to his left to see how far he still has to go, and the Eskil Borg from Sweden in 4th position, so he really has to go for a change of gear to get back into contention for a place in the quarterfinal. But John Graves from the United States of America still out in front, but who's going to get second and who's going to get third, Gillian?
Yeah, a very tight race indeed. Impressive stuff from the sculler from Bermuda, Ali Zaida. He came 38th back in 2019 at the World Championship, so this is definitely a step up for him, going head-to-head with the young Finn Florijn of the Netherlands. And John Graves out there in the lead, maybe having a better road today than he had last weekend, unfortunately, at the final Olympic qualification regatta.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für den Ruderer aus den USA, John Graves, welcher hier das Rennen komfortabel anführt. Er ist immer noch bei einer Schlagfrequenz von 34, möchte hier noch nichts sparen für das Viertelfinale, sondern seinen Vorsprung sauber ins Ziel bringen. Verfolgt wird er von den Rudern aus Holland und Bermuda. Am Schluss des Feldes momentan der Schwede.
The sculler from Bermuda just having to watch out there for the buoys riding on that left side of his boat, but he's sculling very nicely here as he comes up towards the line, but no doubt about it, John Graves looking set to take the first spot in the third heat of the men's single sculls. The Netherlands and Bermuda just tapping it along here. I think Finn Florijn might just tap it along a little bit faster here to come across in second as they come through their last few strokes. And yes, Bermuda just caught on the buoy there a little bit, so he comes through in third, but just ahead of Sweden. So just going through those places for you again, the United States coming across in first, the Netherlands, Finn Florijn coming across in second, then was Bermuda's Ali Zaida, and then coming across in for Sweden, Eskil Borg.
Es ist die USA vor den Niederlanden und Bermuda, welche hier die Ziellinie als erste überquert haben. Am Schluss des Feldes der Schwede Eskil Borg.
We head back up towards the starting line for the fourth of 5 heats in the men's single sculls. In lane 1, Lithuania won. In lane 2, Norway won. In lane 3, Belgium. And in lane 4, Zimbabwe.
Wir sind nun im 4. Vorlauf des Männereiners mit Litauen, Norwegen, Belgien und Zimbabwe am Start.
Out there passing the 1,000-meter mark, and Kjetil Borch of Norway out in the lead. Camilla.
Length that Kjetil Borch has got here for lane number 2 in Norway. Alongside him, just cruising a length back, Celius Ritter of Lithuania. The Lithuanians, it seems, spoilt for choice with single scullers, as we'll see Griškonis, who qualified this boat for the Olympics for Lithuania at this regatta. But the 4th place for Ritter at World Cup 1, beating Griškonis, has really pushed on this Lithuanian to be up there in contention with the likes of Kjetil Borch, the silver medalist from that same regatta, and a bronze from the World Championships back in 2019. These two scullers well clear of Tristan van den Busche of Belgium that sits in 3rd, the promising junior men's single sculler now stepping up here to the senior scene ahead of Peter Purcell-Gilpin of Zimbabwe, Tim.
Yeah, that's Peter Purcell-Gilpin from Zimbabwe in 4th position, having quite some work to do to catch up with the front runners, or at least not come last in this heat. But out in front, it's Kjetilborg from Norway, looking to his right to Saulius Ritter from Lithuania, to see where they're going, and I think it's a quarter of a boat length lead for the sculler from Norway, but he looks really relaxed, just 33 strokes a minute, and I think those two leaders have looked towards each other and thought, well, we're in a good position, we're going to stay here for the rest of the race, and we're not going to let the Belgian sculler catch up with us in the last 500 meters, but Kjetilborg's looking very good, as does Saulius Ritter from Lithuania, with 300 meters left to go.
Yeah, interesting to see how Saulius Ritter does in this men's single scull discipline coming out of that men's double sculls. They had some up and down performances over the last few seasons, but he seems to be doing quite well in the single sculls, keeping pace with Kjetilborg of Norway, and that has taken them away from the Belgian and the Zimbabwean sculler as they come into the red buoys.
Ja, es ist Kjetilborg aus Norwegen, welcher das Rennen im 4. Vorlauf des Männereiners anführt. Etwa eine knappe Länge vor dem Litauer, vor Saulius Ritter, aber dann sehr deutlich vor dem Belgier und dem Boot aus Zimbabwe. Der Weltmeister aus 2018 aus Plovdiv macht hier einen sehr guten Job und nützt diesen Mitwind zum möglichst schnell ins Ziel kommen. Immer noch etwa eine Länge vor Saulius Ritter.
Kjetilborg just rating slightly higher here, 34 strokes a minute to keep his bow ball ahead of Saulius Ritter, who's gone down to 29 strokes a minute. But those two are just glancing around, seeing where their positions are relative to the sculler from Belgium and the sculler from Zimbabwe. But they come up to the final few strokes of this race, and in control, Kjetilborg of Norway will come across the line in first, ahead of Saulius Ritter of Lithuania. That third spot will go to Tristan van den Busche of Belgium, and coming across in fourth, Peter Purcell-Gilpin of Zimbabwe.
Norwegen hat das Rennen gewonnen, vor Litauen auf dem 3. Platz, Belgien und am Schluss des Feldes Zimbabwe.
On the course now, the 5th of 6 heats in the men's single scull. Such a fantastic entry here in Lucerne for the men's single sculls. In lane 1, the Czech Republic. In lane 2, Egypt won. In lane 3, Greece. And in lane 4, Italy won.
Schon bald bei 1000 Metern ist das Rennen des 5. Vorlaufs des Männereiners mit Tschechien, Ägypten, Griechenland und Italien am Start.
So the Greek sculler Stefanos Natouskas having a fantastic season so far, and he's out there in the lead as they approach 900 meters.
Yeah, a really commanding lead for such, I was going to say inexperienced, but just young, 24 years of age, Stefanos Natouskas, but certainly not holding him back. He started off this journey of performing at the senior level with a silver medal at the Under-23 World Championships back in Sarasota, and he's just built from there, and he's, lengths and lengths clear of the rest of this field, including a very prominent name here. Andrei Sinek sits in second position, 5 lengths of clear water or so back from the Natouskas of Greece. It's then a tight fight overlap here to Sinek between the Italian sculler Simone Martini and Albana of Egypt. Straight from the FOQR, from the double here into the single scull, is certainly not holding him up. But this performance here from the Greek, reminiscent of his incredible performance at the Europeans in the early stages. And could we see something more special from him, a podium perhaps later on this weekend? Only time will tell. We're only in heat 5 of 6, as Gillian mentioned, here out on the lake, out on the Rothsee. But Tim, wow, isn't this great from the young Greek?
Yeah, definitely. All eyes on that young Greek sculler, and he looked so good in the early seasons in Varese. He looked very strong, and I think he's one of those athletes to watch for the future, because he's very young, still has a lot of training to do. And I think he has the potential to become one of the greats in this field. Certainly looking at him now as he approaches 1,500 meters, he looks very composed, very clean catches, very good rhythm from him, just 31 strokes a minute. But as you mentioned, Camilla, several boat lengths of clear water between him and second placed Andrei Sinek, the five-time world champion, in second position, who is feeling the pressure from the Italian sculler, and also Elbana from Egypt, who is currently in third position. So I'm really wondering to see, as the trains whiz past behind me, if the Egyptian sculler is able to push on and pile some pressure on Andrei Sinek. But Natouskas from Greece still out in front.
Yeah, Tim, the trains behind you and the planes overhead here in Lucerne, so plenty of noise, but out there on the water it's looking fantastically calm for these scullers as they come into the final part of this race, and Natouskas just out in the lead there. I'm very curious to see what happens there for Sinek, if he can hold off any challenges that he gets coming from behind him, but he's rating so low that I have a feeling he has a little bit left in the bag if he needs to pull it out.
Ja, die beiden Boote aus Griechenland und Tschechien, welche das Rennen hier anführen, müssen nicht ganz an ihre Grenzen gehen. Sie können ihren Vorsprung komfortabel managen hier und fahren hier gemütlich ins Ziel. Gerade der fünffache Weltmeister aus Tschechien ist hier auf dem zweiten Platz und hat seine Schlagfrequenz nochmals etwas erniedrigt und kann so aber trotzdem seinen Vorsprung auf den Ägypter und den Italiener gut halten.
Natouskas down at a 29, just powering, motoring along here towards the finish line, keeping an eye on the scullers behind him. Andrei Sinek doing the same there, just keeping his eyes on the Egyptian sculler and the sculler from Italy, just to make sure he does enough to tap his boat along in that second position. Coming across the line, Stefanos Natouskas of Greece taking the first spot. Andrei Sinek will come through in second, and then it's a tight race between Italy and Egypt, but I think it's Italy who just grabs it ahead of Egypt across the line. I'll confirm that when it comes up on the screen.
Es war der Grieche, der das Rennen gewonnen hat, vor Andrei Sinek aus Tschechien. Auf dem dritten Platz war der Italiener Simone Martini vor dem Ägypter, welcher am Schluss des Feldes sich platziert hat.
Just confirming those spots. First went to Greece, second to the Czech Republic, Andrei Sinek, third went to Italy, Simone Martini, and fourth, Egypt. And we're on to our sixth and final heat of the men's single sculls. In lane 1, Denmark. In lane 2, Japan. In lane 3, Venezuela. In lane 4, Lithuania 2.
Der sechste Vorlauf des Männereiners ist unterwegs und es ist Dänemark, Japan, Venezuela und Litauen, welche hier um die Plätze im Viertelfinale kämpfen.
They've just come up on the 1,000-meter mark, and Sverre Nielsen and Mindaugas Kriskonis of Lithuania having a fantastic race there out in the lead. So Sverre Nielsen just out there in the lead. We don't seem to have reception with Camilla at the 1,000-meter mark right now, but Denmark out in the lead. Sverre Nielsen, he is the silver medalist from the 2019 World Championships, the European champion from 2020, so maybe not a big surprise to see him leading as they come up on the 1,200-meter mark, just ahead of Lithuania 2.
Es ist Sverre Nielsen, welcher das Rennen hier gut anführt. Etwas mehr als eine Länge vor dem Litauer Mindaugas Kriskonis. Auf dem dritten Rang momentan der Ruderer aus Japan und am Schluss des Feldes Venezuela.
So Tim, I think they're approaching you at 1,500 meters, and Sverre Nielsen having a fantastic race.
And Sverre Nielsen is definitely very close, but he's way ahead of the rest of the field. Just at 31 strokes a minute, the silver medalist from the European Championships in Varese, looking cool, calm and collected in this last heat of the men's single sculls. He is really just looking to his left, no really big threats coming from the rest of the field, but Mindaugas Griskonis from Lithuania is going with him, currently in second position, but he is, I think, 1.5 boat lengths of clear water back from the Danish sculler, who is just having a row over. It seems he just went down a couple of notches in terms of rates, just 28 strokes a minute, and he is really enjoying this part of the Rothsee. It's perfectly flat. There is some drizzle coming down here, but it's perfect racing conditions, and Sverre Nielsen absolutely taking it all in and having a great first heat. Third position was for the sculler from Japan, and now crossing my commentary position is the Venezuelan sculler. Betancourt who is in fourth position, but Sverre Nielsen looking all set to go through the quarterfinal, looking in great shape with just a couple of 100 meters left to row.
Yeah, these top scullers have all just taken their rate down, the top 3 of 4 here, taken their rate down to about 25, 26 strokes a minute. And as you say, Tim, just absolutely enjoying the conditions here out on the Rothsee. Just the Venezuelan sculler a little bit off the pace here in fourth, allowing these first 3 scullers just to relax as they come towards the finish line.
Ja, es sieht sehr gut aus für den Dänen Sverre Nielsen, welcher hier das Rennen komfortabel anführt, gefolgt vom Mindaugas Griskonis aus Litauen und dem Japaner Ryuta Arakawa. Und sie müssen nicht mal an ihre Grenzen gehen. Sie können hier am Schluss noch etwas Energie sparen für das Viertelfinale. Die Plätze sind so deutlich verteilt.
So into the final 50 meters here, and Sverre Nielsen of Denmark just looking fantastic out there on the water. Nice, long, controlled strokes, 26 strokes a minute, followed by Mindaugas Griskonis of Lithuania too. So those two coming through the line now. Then a little bit of open water back to Japan's Ryuta Arakawa, and he'll take that third spot. And then again, a bit of open water back to the sculler from Venezuela, Jose Agustin Betancourt.
Es war Dänemark vor Litauen und Japan, welche hier die Ziellinie als erstes überquert haben. Und gerade jetzt fährt dann gleich der Ruderer aus Venezuela ebenfalls über die Ziellinie.
So switching gears here, we go to race for lanes in the lightweight women's double sculls. In lane 1, France. In lane 2, Russia. In lane 3, Belarus. In lane 4, Romania. In lane 5, Japan. And in lane 6, Great Britain.
Im Bahnverteilungsrennen des Frauen-Leichtgewichts-Doppelzweiers ist Frankreich, Russland, Weißrussland, Rumänien, Japan und Großbritannien am Start.
So a race for lanes here in the lightweight women's double sculls. We had a lot of crews withdraw from this category, unfortunately, but a fantastic field still out there on the water. Great Britain currently in the lead as they come across the 1,000-meter mark, but a very tight field behind them. France coming through in that second position. Romania in third, and Belarus in fourth, but a very tight, compacted field as they press on through the third quarter of this race.
Ja, es war das Boot aus Großbritannien, welches die ersten 1000 Meter als schnellste zurückgelegt haben, aber nur ganz knapp vor dem Boot aus Frankreich. Diese beiden Boote fahren auf den jeweiligen Außenbahnen. Von dem her ist es etwas schwierig für diese Ruderinnen zu sehen, wo sie gerade stehen. Aber ich bin sicher, sobald sie merken, dass sie so nahe beisammen sind, dann werden sie nochmals heftig Gas geben, damit sie möglichst gut platziert sein können für das Finale am Sonntag.
This British crew, Emily Craig and Imogen Grant, finished second at the European Championships in Varese just a few weeks ago, and they're currently still in the lead. But right behind them, hot on their tails, is the crew from France. This combination back together, Claire Bove and Lara Tarantola back together for the French. They rode together in Zagreb, but the French doing a bit of lineup changing, shifting just to test how these rowers are going as they head towards the Tokyo Olympic Games later on this summer. But they're coming towards you, Tim, at the 1,500 meter mark, and Great Britain and France just going bow ball for bow ball, but Romania not out of the tussle either.
No, definitely not, Gillian. It's a brilliant race between the leading three crews with Great Britain, Romania and France for first, second and third. And it was absolutely bow ball for bow ball, less than a quarter of a second between those three crews, with the crew from Belarus in fourth position and the Russian Federation in fifth, and I think it was the crew from Japan in sixth position. But this is only a race for lanes, so all crews will progress to the A final. But yeah, punches will be traded, I guess, in the last 250 meters. But your position is way better than mine to commentate on that final sprint to the finish.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, these three crews just going bow ball for bow ball, as you said, out there in the lead as they come into the red buoys. It'll be fantastic to see this race between France, Romania and Great Britain into the final strokes.
Auch wenn hier alle Boote schon für das A-Finale qualifiziert sind, es schenkt sich niemand etwas. Die Boote wollen möglichst gute Plätze für das A-Finale herausfahren. Das heißt, der Sieger hier kriegt eine Mittelbahn am Sonntag im A-Finale. And it looks at the moment that Romania wants to be the winner of this race. Romania with the stroke woman Janina Elena Beleaga. She has her birthday today, so maybe she wants to present herself with a win. I don't know.
I don't know, Michi, but France absolutely sprinting for it. They're up at 40 strokes a minute. Romania at 42 strokes a minute. Great Britain on the far side also trying to get in the tussle. I think it's France coming across the line ahead of Great Britain and Romania, but those three crews, fantastic race from them. We'll have to wait and see in the A final how it comes about. Belarus coming across in fourth, Russia coming through in fifth, and Japan in sixth. Once those times come up on my screen, I'll just confirm that 1, 2, 3 for you in the lightweight women's double sculls.
Ja, es war ganz eng am Schluss zwischen Frankreich, Rumänien und Großbritannien mit dem besseren Ende für Frankreich. Also kein Geburtstagsgeschenk für die Ruderin aus Rumänien, Janina Beleaga. Aber trotzdem ein gutes Rennen. Sie hat sich auf dem dritten Platz platziert und auf dem vierten Platz dann das Boot aus Weißrussland auf Rang 5, das Boot aus Russland und am Schluss des Feldes Japan.
So just confirming those places across the line. France came through in first, Great Britain through in second, and Romania third. A fantastic race for those top three spots. Belarus through in fourth, Russia fifth, and Japan sixth. We crack on for the first heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. In lane 1, Chile. In lane 2, China. In lane 3, Portugal 2. In lane 4, Italy. In lane 5, Norway 1. And in lane 6, Egypt.
Es geht weiter mit dem Männerleichtgewichtsdoppelzweier, dem ersten Vorlauf mit Chile auf Bahn 1, China auf Bahn 2, Portugal 2 auf Bahn 3, Italien auf Bahn 4, Norwegen 1 auf Bahn 5 und Ägypten auf Bahn 6.
So it's the first two crews through to the AB semi-final out of this race, and currently riding in those positions are Italy and Norway. This Italian crew, they were third at the European Championships just a few weeks ago. They have a silver medal from back in 2019 at the World Championships. And then this Norwegian crew, they go back and forth a bit between the open weight and lightweight category. They finished fourth at the World Championships back in 2019, but they competed in the open weight category at the European Championships just a few weeks ago, finishing 12th there. But these two crews looking fantastic out there in the lead.
Es ist das Boot aus Italien, Pietro Ruta und Stefano Oppo, welche hier das Rennen anführen. Verfolgt werden sie vom Boot aus Norwegen. Die Olympia-Bronzemedaillengewinner aus Rio sind nach einem kurzen Ausflug bei den Schwergewichten nun wieder bei den Leichtgewichten am Start und rudern hier der direkten Halbfinalqualifikation entgegen. Etwas zurück sind die Boote aus China und Tschechien und am Schluss des Feldes Portugal und Ägypten.
They're in front of you, Tim, out there on the water, and I think Italy and Norway, can anyone catch up on them?
Well, it's going to be a very difficult job to get back on those two crews, Gillian, because Brune Strandli, although in second position, were several boat lengths of clear water ahead of the third-placed crew from China. So I don't think they're really under threat. Their places in the AB semi-final seem to be secure. But I was really impressed with what I saw from the Italian crew. The bronze medalists from Varese, Ruta and Oppo, looked very much in control and were able to answer every single push the Norwegian crew threw at them. So great racing from them with just 200 meters left to go.
Absolutely right, Tim. The Italians looking so set, so clean and connected out there on the water. But Norway just behind them. Norway rating about 35 strokes a minute. These two crews looking like they're not under too much pressure from China, who's currently sitting in that third spot.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für die Italiener und die Norweger, welche hier die Spitze des Feldes verkörpern und mit dem Messerende für Italien, welche nun nur noch etwa 20 Meter von der Ziellinie entfernt sind.
Across the line, Italy takes the first spot through to the AB semi-final, followed by Norway. China will come through in third, and then we have a bit of open water back towards the rest of the field. At this stage, looking like Chile is going to come across the line in fourth, and then a very close race between Portugal too and Egypt.
Das Rennen wurde von Italien gewonnen in 6:25,98. 1,6 Sekunden vor den Norwegen auf dem dritten Platz. China auf Rang 4, Chile im 5. Rang, Portugal und am Schluss des Feldes Ägypten.
Coming down the course now, the second heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. In lane 1, Venezuela. In lane 2, Portugal won. In lane 3, Ireland. In lane 4, Switzerland. And in lane 5, Poland.
Kurz vor der 1000-Meter-Marke ist das zweite Rennen des Männer-Leichtgewichts-Doppelzweiers mit Venezuela, Portugal 1, Irland, der Schweiz und Polen am Start.
So Ireland out to the lead here. I think Paul O'Donovan and Joseph McCarthy, unstoppable. They're world champions from back in 2019, European champions from just a few weeks ago in Varese, and they're leading the way down the course. Making the best of it behind them currently is Poland in lane 5. This Polish duo, Artur Mikolajewski in the stroke seat. He's coming from the lightweight men's single sculls. He finished third at the European Championships in that category, and stroking here the lightweight men's double for Poland. They're currently riding in that second spot, and then we'll keep an eye on the Portuguese in the third position to see if they can move up into one of those top 2 positions into the A final.
Die ersten 1000 Meter haben die Iren am schnellsten zurückgelegt. Gefolgt werden sie von Polen. Die Polen waren etwas spät am Starten, haben eine Verwarnung erhalten, eine Yellow Card, aber hier sind sie nicht mehr spät unterwegs. Im Moment sieht es sehr gut aus, dass sie sich für das Halbfinale direkt qualifizieren können. Das Schweizer Boot war auf dem 4. Rang momentan und auch noch jetzt sind sie auf dem 4. Rang, etwas zurück hinter Portugal, welches auf dem 3. Rang rudert.
I think the Irish duo is sprinting towards you, Tim, at 1,500 meters. How do they look?
Yeah, we know the style from this combination of McCarthy and O'Donovan. They look very aggressive at the front end of the stroke, rating 37 strokes a minute as they come towards my commentary position. And they look, they are clearly in the lead. A couple of lengths of clear water to the Polish crew who were late to the start. And I think they're not going to be late for a place in the AB semi-final because they are almost a boat length up on the crew from Portugal in lane number 2, who are currently in 3rd. Then it's a bit of a look back to the Swiss crew just passing 1,500 meter mark. It's the very young combination from Switzerland, currently in 4th position. And on the far side, we can see the international debutants from Venezuela in 5th position. But clearly the reigning world and European champions from Ireland are pressing their authority, their stamp of authority on this heat in the lightweight men's doubles.
That's right, Tim. Yes, they are. And we know that they can sprint, but I don't think they're going to have to this Irish combination as they come into the final stages of this race, looking set to take one of those 2 spots into the AB semifinals.
Die Iren zeigen hier, warum sie Weltmeister geworden sind 2019 in Linz. Sie rudern hier im Vorlauf dem Sieg entgegen, deutlich vor dem Boot aus Polen. Auf dem 3. Rang und diese versuchen etwas gut zu machen auf die Polen sind die Portugiesen, welche aber gerade jetzt etwas Druck herausgenommen haben und der Ziellinie richtig entgegen cruisen.
Up to the line now, and O'Donovan and McCarthy looking fantastic here for the lightweight men's double sculls from Ireland. They will take that first spot through to the AB semi-final. They're followed by Poland, who will also go directly through to the AB semi-final. And then behind them, Portugal has just wound their rate down. They're just tapping it across the line here. They look set to go through to the repechage. Behind them, we'll look at this crew from Switzerland as they approach the line now. And then coming through in that 5th spot will be Venezuela.
Das Rennen wurde von Irland gewonnen und gefolgt von Polen. Diese beiden Boote qualifizieren sich direkt für das Halbfinale. Über den Hoffnungslauf, sich versuchen für das Halbfinale zu qualifizieren, müssen sich Portugal, die Schweiz und am Schluss des Feldes Venezuela.
Coming down the course now, the 3rd heat of the lightweight men's double sculls. In lane 1, Belgium 2. In lane 2, Norway 2. In lane 3, the United States of America. In lane 4, Germany. And in lane 5, Belgium 1.
Im 3. Vorlauf des Männer-Leichtgewichts-Doppelzweiers ist Belgien 2 auf Bahn 1 rudernd, Norwegen 2 auf Bahn 2, die USA auf Bahn 3, Deutschland auf Bahn 4 und Belgien 1 auf Bahn 5.
These crews are approaching the 900-meter mark, and the Germans have made their move to come to the front of the course. Belgium, too, was off to the fastest start there, but Germany just taking their time and moving through in the middle part of this race to overtake the leader from Belgium. Belgium won, then coming through as well to take that 2nd spot. So those 2 crews currently out in the lead as they come through the 1,000-meter mark.
Im Moment sieht es sehr gut aus für die Deutschen. Sie sind nicht die schnellsten gewesen am Start, das war Belgien 2, aber sie sind nun die schnellsten, welche die 1000-Meter-Marke überquert haben. Ganz knapp vor dem Boot aus Belgien 1 mit Tim Breeze und Niels van Zandwege, welche schon ebenfalls sehr viele Medaillen gewonnen haben.
So Jason Osborne stroking that German boat, this German combination having finished silver just a few weeks ago at the European Championships, and they're out here today showing that they're still on form. They're rating 39 strokes a minute in the middle of this race. That's compared to 37 strokes for the Belgians, who are just staying with them as they approach 1,250 meters. But these two crews looking set to be the top two out of this race to go through to the AB semi-final. I think they're coming up on you, Tim, and Germany and Belgium 1 still out in the lead.
Definitely, Gillian. It's more or less the same race plan we saw from the German crew in Zagreb a couple of weeks ago. Blast off the start, maintain a very high rate of striking with 39 strokes a minute for most of the race, and then come into the last 500 and raise the rate even more. But it's impressive to see what Niels van Zandwegen and Tim Bries from Belgium are able to pull off here in this heat, because they have maintained contact with the German double and are actually moving towards the front of the field. They have slightly higher boat speed and are just a canvas down on the leading German crew. So I'm really looking forward to the sprint for the line. The other crew from Belgium 2 on the far side in second position, and then it's a couple of lengths back to the crew from the USA and Norway 2. But all eyes will be drawn to the front of the race to see which of the two crews, Germany or Belgium 1, who will get the first place in this last heat of the lightweight men's double sculls.
Yeah, really interesting to see that sprint from the Belgians. Belgium 1 out there on the water, just trying to push up on the crew from Germany. Just maybe it's a little bit of a tussle to see who will have the better lane for the AB semi-final. But the Germans just holding off that Belgian sprint. And as I'm talking, the Belgians has dropped their race rate down to 33 strokes a minute. So they're looking like they're secure to take one of those top two spots, and they don't want to sprint it out with the Germans.
Der Schlagmann der Deutschen, Jason Osborne, hat gezeigt, warum er so stark ist und immer so schnell unterwegs ist im Doppelzweier und warum er auch als Favorit mit seinem Partner genannt wird für eine olympische Medaille. Sie haben den Versuch gestoppt von den Belgiern, hier das Rennen zu gewinnen. Im Moment, diese beiden Boote fahren gemütlich den Ziellinie entgegen, während die anderen Boote schon jetzt sehr deutlich zurück die anderen Plätze kämpfen.
The Germans just happy to tap their bow ball across the line. They're ahead of Belgium. So Germany in that first spot through to the AB semi-final. Belgium 1 in the second spot. And then we look back down the course to see Belgium 2, who will come through in that third spot. They'll go through to the repechage race, followed by the United States of America and Norway 2.
Das Rennen wurde von Deutschland gewonnen, gefolgt von Belgien auf dem dritten Rang, Belgien 2, Rang 4 für die USA und Rang 5 für Norwegen 2.
Up next, the test race for the women's quadruple sculls. In lane 1, Poland. In lane 2, the Netherlands. In lane 3, Germany. In lane 4, Switzerland. In lane 5, Italy. And in lane 6, China.
Das nächste Rennen ist das Testrennen des Frauen-Doppelvierers mit Polen auf Bahn 1, Niederlande auf Bahn 2, Deutschland auf Bahn 3, die Schweiz auf Bahn 4, Italien auf Bahn 5 und auf der Außenbahn auf Bahn 6, China.
So, Camilla, you haven't drowned out there on the water. We have you back. And can you tell us what's happening in this race?
Yes, good to be back, and welcome back with the distant noise of cowbells as Switzerland. Great to see them in this race after that COVID scare earlier in the week. They're back racing, but this is a dominant performance here by the Chinese crew. They're out in front by just over a length. They've got Clearwater ahead of the Germans that poke out half a length ahead of the Dutch and the Italians that sit equally in third. It's then Clearwater back to Poland, the world champion Championship silver medalists in this boat category. They're just looking a little bit laboured coming into this third 500 metres. And then the Swiss, who have had that super sub, come into the bow seat in Salome Ulrich in the bow seat. But they're just off the pace somewhat. But what an incredible performance to see China here. This is the full crew that raced at the World Championships back in 2019, linchpinned with the Olympic experience of Liu Yang and Zhang Ling in the 3 and 2 seat respectively, and they just look imperious out there on the water. And in the downpour, Tim, we got some rain coming now.
More intensely than it did a couple of minutes ago, but that doesn't seem to hinder the crew from China, who are in the lead and are looking very much in control of this race. They pulled out to a good margin in the first part of the race, and they have extended that lead into the third 500. But a great tussle for the places 2, 3 and 4 on the far side of the lake, with the German crew currently in second position. They changed the order of that crew around from Zagreb a couple of weeks ago, where they took the gold in, that crew is leading the Dutch crew, and that must be a surprise for the Dutch crew, because I think the Dutch crew would have expected to be in front of the Germans, but the Germans have more than half a boat length a lead over the Dutch, who are in third. Then it's Italy and Poland for fifth and sixth, and then the crew from Switzerland currently in sixth position. But the Chinese already out of view from my commentary position, because they have increased their lead even further with just 250 meters to row. The Chinese look very good to take the win in this test race of the women's quad.
That's right, Tim. It'll be interesting to see how this shapes up later in the weekend in the final race of the women's quadruple sculls. But China showing their colors here, their true speed. They're out there in the lead. A fantastic performance from the Chinese. And then we're looking back at the Germans and the Dutch, as well as the Polish, just to see how these three crews come across the line.
Es sieht sehr gut aus für die Weltmeisterinnen aus Linz 2019. Die Chinesinnen, welche hier dem Sieg entgegenfahren. Verfolgt werden sie von Booten aus den Niederlanden und Deutschland, was noch sehr eng werden könnte, obwohl jetzt Deutschland sich doch etwas nach vorne geschoben hat und im Moment einen guten zweiten Rang wahrscheinlich erreichen wird. Ebenfalls noch nahe beisammen ist das Boot aus Italien, welches nun sogar das Boot aus den Niederlanden überholt hat.
Yeah, so China looking incredible out there in the lead, but what a tussle going on behind them. Germany is looking set to take that second position, but Italy coming sprinting through. Poland on the near side, desperately trying to get back into it, and the Dutch just fading out the back of the pack across the line. Germany, Italy, Poland, and the Netherlands. So very close race across all four crews in this test race of the women's quadruple sculls. Switzerland coming through in that sixth position. So I'll just say those spots for you again. China across through in first. Germany comes through in second. Italy came across in third. Then it was Poland, the Netherlands and Switzerland.
Das Testrennen des Frauendoppelvierers wurde vom Boot aus China gewonnen. Auf dem zweiten Platz folgt das Boot aus Deutschland, ganz knapp vor dem Boot aus Italien. Auf Rang 4 Polen, auf dem 5. Rang die Niederlande und auf dem 6. und letzten Rang die Schweiz.
And now for the first heat of the men's quadruple sculls. In lane 1, Germany. In lane 2, China. In lane 3, Italy. And in lane 4, Great Britain.
Vom Frauendoppelvierer direkt in den ersten Vorlauf des Männerdoppelvierers mit Deutschland, China, Italien und Großbritannien am Start.
4 crews across and just 1 through to the A final. They've just passed 1,000 meters and Italy is in the lead.
Yeah, through the 1,000 metres, 3/4 of a length for Italy, and on either side of them it's Great Britain and Germany vying to try and close them down in this third 500. But this Italian crew came absolutely storming. They galvanised themselves for that first European gold ahead of the Netherlands in this crew, and what a performance that was then. And they're looking to replicate that here. They're looking just as dominant and just as relaxed out here on the water ahead of Great Britain and Germany respectively. But as we go through this third 500, certainly a space to watch Great Britain, as this tends to be where they make their move, although they finished back in 5th place at the European Championships behind the Italians. The Germans now just wanting to start to reel in the Italians as we go through towards 500 metres to go. Who do you think's got the sprint in this one, Tim?
We think it's going to be the Italian crew because they look so impressive, and we know they can raise their game and have a great sprint finish. The blade work of that Italian crew is such a joy to look at. It's meticulous, even at this high rate of striking, 38 strokes a minute from the crew from Italy. But I think the crew from China is coming back to the front of the field, just about 4th position, but it's everything to play for the European champions from Italy out in the lead, but Germany being overhauled by the Chinese, and the British crew have to go now to get back into contention. But Italy looks good for that A final, doesn't it, Gillian?
They absolutely do, Tim. I see the British going up to 39 strokes a minute. The Italians are up at 39 strokes a minute, so nobody is letting up in this race. I think the British want to see if they can have a sprint finish and try and catch the Italians as they storm towards the red buoys.
Ja, es sind die Italiener, die Europameister vom aktuellen Jahr, welche hier das Rennen anführen. Etwa eine Länge vor dem Boot aus Großbritannien, welches nun versucht, näher an die Italiener heranzufahren. Aber die Italiener reagieren wunderbar und sie können den Vorsprung weiter behalten.
Yeah, the British up at 43 strokes a minute out there on the far side of the course from the finish tower. They're desperately trying to get back on that Italian lead. The Italians at 42 strokes a minute. They're not letting up. They want that spot directly through to the A final. I just see a glance across from Giacomo Gentili in the stroke seat of the Italian boat just to check on that British sprint, but the British are absolutely charging for it. They come into the final strokes of this race, and I think Italy has done enough early on to hold on to that lead ahead of Great Britain and take that one spot through to the A final. Great Britain coming through in second. China will have to settle for third, and Germany just tapping the boat across the line in fourth. They will have to contest the repechage.
Ja, was für ein enger Ziellauf, aber das bessere Ende hatte Italien, welches das Rennen gewonnen hat und sich direkt für das A-Finale qualifiziert. Über den Hoffnungslauf müssen die Boote von Großbritannien, China und auch Deutschland, welche sich am Schluss des Feldes eingereiht hat.
So who will join the Italians in the A final of the men's quadruple sculls? Coming down the course now is the second heat. In lane 1, the Czech Republic. In lane 2, Poland. In lane 3, the Netherlands.
Im zweiten Vorlauf des Männer-Doppelvierers ist die Niederlande am Start, zusammen mit Polen und der Tschechischen Republik.
As they approach the 800-meter mark, the Dutch are out to the lead. The world champions from 2019 having a nice start out there on the water, approaching 800 meters.
Yeah, they've got some lovely conditions. The heavy rain, although not very pleasant and quite chilly, is making the conditions nice and flat out here for all of the athletes, and certainly the conditions that the Dutch will excel in, because this crew tipped to be one of the hot crews to watch for Tokyo. They were absolutely dominant back at the World Championships in 2019, are destroying this small and compact field here in the second heat of the men's quadruple sculls. And I think in contrast contrast to the heat before, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that we are going to see the Dutch in the A final as they go through 1,000 metres with about half a length of clear water ahead of Poland. It's then the Czech Republic, a young crew here, the stern three of this crew stepping up from the under-23s back in Sarasota where they finished 5th in the quad, now to move on to the senior scene, joined by Jan Fleissner in the bow seat to make this quartet. But they sit clear water back on Poland, who sit in second. But my word, this boat stroked by Koen Metzemakers of the Netherlands just has such a relentless rhythm, and that's what took them to that World Championship gold just 2 years ago. I think they're going to try and reserve as much energy as they can, Tim, because they know in the later stages those Italians are just sitting waiting for them, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit of a surprise for the Dutch crew to be to not win the European title in Varese a month ago, and having to watch the Italians take the gold. And the Dutch have been training very hard. I don't think they've tapered for this event because all eyes will be on Tokyo later this year. But it's impressive to watch as the orange bow of the Dutch crew with Dirk Uitenboogaert in the bow seat, looking very relaxed and in control of this race. It's 2 boat lengths of clear water back to the crew from Poland, who were silver medalists in the 2019 World Championships, but they are really outclassed by this Dutch crew, who are trucking along, not going full tilt, 36 strokes a minute, so they have a step to go if they have to, but they won't in this heat because they are well out in front. Third position is for the Czech Republic, a young crew with Jan Fleissner in the bow seat, but they have already seen what the damage that has been done by the Dutch crew, so they will go to the repechage. But the Dutch look very good with just 350 meters left to go. I think they're just going to maintain this rhythm all the way down the line.
In contrast to the race before, which saw rates of 42, 43 strokes a minute, the Dutch rating at 37 strokes a minute, just keeping their bow ball ahead of the Polish and the Czech Republic as they approach the final stages.
Die Positionen im zweiten Vorlauf des Männer-Doppelvierers sind schon sehr deutlich verteilt. Führen tut das Boot aus den Niederlanden. Koen Metzemakers, der Schlagmann, macht hier einen hervorragenden Job und bringt das Boot auf die letzten 200 Meter. Verfolgt werden sie vom Boot auf Polen, und auf dem 3. Platz rudern momentan das Boot aus der Tschechischen Republik.
The Dutch just pipping that rate up to 38 strokes a minute, getting a little bit of a sprint in there as they cross the line to take that first spot through to the A final. They will join Italy in that A final, and that will certainly be a race to watch on Sunday. Poland coming across the line in second, and then a bit of clear water back to the Czech Republic, who will come across the line in third. We head back up to the starting line for the final race of this morning's session, the test race in the men's 8. Just 2 boats contesting this field. The Dutch following the COVID-19 protocols. They're having a test this morning just to ensure that they're ready to race for this final on Sunday. But just 2 boats contesting, Germany in lane 1 and Great Britain in lane 3.
Am Start ist momentan der Männer-Achter, das letzte Rennen des Tages. Es ist ein Testrennen und es ist ein Zweikampf zwischen Großbritannien und Deutschland, nachdem die Niederlande nicht starten konnten, da sie noch einen Test abwarten müssen und dann vielleicht im Finale wieder in Erscheinung treten.
So they're already coming up on the 850-meter mark, and Germany has the advantage ahead of Great Britain, Camilla.
Yes, well, it may only be 2 crews in this race, but the noise coming from the centre of this lake is absolutely astounding as Germany lead the way coming into the halfway marker. But this is the same race strategy that we saw from the Germans back at the Europeans, where Great Britain started to move, and that's exactly what Great Britain are starting to do now. They're the fastest moving of these 2 crews, and as they move through the 1,000 metres, the bow balls draw level between Great Britain and Germany. This is more like a race that you'd see at Henley Royal Regatta, this test race. 2 crews head to head, bow ball for bow ball, as they come through the third 500 metres. And I'm really intrigued to see what sort of last sprint that these guys are going to have coming through the closing stages, because really it's all about the final on Sunday. This is just a test race, and I'm sure they'll be keeping their cards close to their chest. But as we move through now, 1,250 metres, Tim, the Brits just started to tease the Germans there, and I think the Germans have responded.
Yeah, definitely. The Germans went up, not in terms of rate, but they increased their boat speed in the third 500. But the British are definitely responding and now having the higher boat speed. And this is looking eerily familiar, because in Varese the Germans looked very good for the first 3 quarters of the race, and then they faded, and then the British charge unfolded and took the gold to make that British crew the European champions. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with 500 meters to go. It's a great sound coming off the lake here, and the British are drawing level with the German crew. The Deutschland Achter has some work to do to keep off this powerful charge from Great Britain, who are really moving. Just a canvas deficit for the British, and I think they are going to they're going to push through, because I don't think the Germans are able to respond properly to this British charge.
That might be true, Tim, but the Germans have just gone up to 40 strokes a minute. They're trying to respond to the British charge. The British still at 39, but the boat speeds are exactly level at this moment, and the British just half a boat length down on the Germans as they come into the red buoys.
Auch wenn es nur ein Testrennen ist, die beiden Boote aus Deutschland und Großbritannien schenken sich gar nicht. Momentan ist es immer noch der Deutschland-Achter, der das Rennen hier knapp vor den Briten anführt. Die Deutschen, sie hatten nicht so eine gute Europameisterschaft. Wahrscheinlich war es für Hannes Otschig die erste Meisterschaft seit über 9 Jahren, wo er keine Medaillen gewinnen konnte. Nun zeigen sie aber, dass sie wieder bereit sind, und wir sind sicher, wir können uns auf ein spannendes Rennen am Sonntag freuen.
The British have gone up to 42 strokes a minute, trying to push back on the Germans. The Germans just looking like they're fading slightly, but they're coming up towards the line. I think they're going to hold on to it. Germany just a bow ball ahead of Great Britain as they cross the line there. Fantastic test race to finish off this morning's racing session, with Germany just ahead of Great Britain. I think, Michi, we're really going to look forward to that race come Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really close finish. Das bessere Ende hatte am Schluss Deutschland. Großbritannien ist nochmals ganz nahe herangefahren. Es waren nur gerade 19 Hundertstel, welche die Briten auf die Deutschen verloren haben. Aber ich bin sicher, sie werden alles unternehmen, um am Sonntag die Nase wieder vor den Deutschen zu haben.
That was it for this morning's racing at the World Rowing Cup 2 in Lucerne. Fantastic racing out there on the water. I think we saw some of the crews that we'll see on the podium in Tokyo testing their speed out there this morning in Lucerne. So we wrap up this morning's session. We'll be back at 3 o'clock this afternoon for the repechage race in the men's double sculls. We progress through some repechage racing and the quarterfinal racing in the men's single sculls all the way through to the repechage races of the lightweight men's double sculls.
Ja, mit diesem knappen Rennen in Männer-Achtern haben wir die Vorläufe hinter uns gebracht, leider schon. Es geht weiter um 15 Uhr mit dem Hoffnungslauf des Männer-Doppelzweiers. Dann bis 15:50 Uhr folgt dann noch der Hoffnungslauf der beiden Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweiern.
So thanks to everyone for tuning in to this morning session. I'm Jillian O'Mara, and on behalf of the entire commentary team, we look forward to seeing you back, or you hearing us back this afternoon.